Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. Today we will see what if Naruto and Kushina decided to kill Minato. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. Kushina peeped around the building she was hiding behind and saw the gate. Her blue eyes quickly scanned the area only to spot 5 ANBUs. Damn it, she cursed under her breath. She rubbed her hurting stomach. Don't worry, we will eat soon, she whispered to her stomach as her unborn kicked again. The group of Anbu all jumped off to continue their patrol of the village, and Kushina used this quick change in the guards to escape the village. In Konaha's hospital, Kurenai and Anko walked into what was supposed to be Kushina's hospital room to find it empty. "Where is Sensei?" Kurenai asked. "I don't know, maybe Minato knows," Anko replied. "Maybe," Kurenai said, taking one last look around the room. The two turned to leave when Anko bumped into the table next to the door. "Ouch," she said. "You okay, Anko?" Kurenai asked. "Yay, just hit the corner of the table," Anko replied. "What's that on the table?" Kurenai asked, pointing to a small scroll. "Don't know," Anko answered, picking up the scroll. She opened the scroll. "I saw what you did. If you want to have a relationship with Atsui, then don't let me stop you. You no longer have to sneak around to be with her because I'm done with you, forever, and don't even think you're trying to get my son, because I will blow this entire fucking village up if you attempt to put one hand on him. Have a shitty and rotten life, you asshole." Kushina Uzumaki. "What happened?" Anko asked. "Obviously Minato was cheating on her," Kurenai said. "So where is she now?" Anko asked. "You're the tracking specialist, you find her," Kurenai said. Summoning no jutsu, Anko called out and summoned her personal hubby. "Can you track down Sensei?" she asked. "Fine, but you have to give me some dango and fully grown Nezumis," the purple hubby replied. "Deal," Anko said. The two followed the hubby out the hospital and towards the gate. "Are you sure she came this way? It leads out of the village?" Anko asked. "Yes, I'm sure. I am never wrong when I'm tracking someone," the hubby replied, annoyed by the stupid question. "But Kushina sensei wouldn't leave the village without telling us," the 10-year-old purple-haired Kunoichi said. "We don't know that yet, maybe she has a reason for not telling us she was leaving," the 12-year-old red-eyed Kunoichi said. "She would still tell us," Anko protested. "Will you two be quiet or we will be busted," the hubby said as they crossed the gate. "Too late," an Anbu said, appearing in front of them. Anko and Kurenai took a step back, getting into their fighting stance. "What now?" Anko asked her older sister. "I don't know, we can't take on an Anbu," Kurenai whispered back. The Anbu took a step towards the two, then fell face first on the ground. "Why are you two not at home sleeping?" Kushina asked. "Anko wanted to visit you in the hospital," Kurenai said. "Kur said you would leave the village without telling us. You wouldn't do that, would you?" Anko asked, looking at Kushina as if she would cry. Kushina smiled. "Of course I wouldn't leave without you two," she said, pulling them into a hug. "But why are you outside the village?" she added. "We read the letter you wrote and got scared, so we came to look for you," Anko said. "Don't worry, I'll be fine. Now go back home and sleep," Kushina said. "No, I want to go with you," Anko said. Kushina looked at Kurenai for help, knowing that the 10-year-old wouldn't resist unless they both told her to, but the look she was receiving told her that Kurenai was on Anko's side this time. The 17-year-old sighed. "Fine, you both can come with me, but we will have to move as fast as possible," she said. "Don't forget about my dango and Nezumis," Anko's personal summon said. "I want," Anko replied before the hubby vanished in a puff of smoke. 2 days later in Konaha, Minato walked into Kushina's hospital room with his personal Anbu guard. "Where is Kushina?" he asked the doctor. "I don't know, she wasn't here when I came into work today," the doctor replied. "Who was in charge yesterday?" Minato asked. "I'm not sure, I was off yesterday," the doctor replied. Minato nodded. "Fine, you can leave," he said, and started to look around the room. He found the letter Kushina wrote and read it. "Damn it," he said. "Is there something wrong?" the female Anbu asked. "She found out about us somehow," Minato said. "I see," the Anbu said. "She took my son and left the village," Minato said. "Oh, what will you do?" the Anbu asked. "I don't know," Minato said. The Anbu thought for a minute. "I can give you more than one son. All you have to do is say the word and we can take our relationship to the next level," the Anbu said. Minato looked at her. "Yes, Atsui, I would like to take our relationship to the next level," he said. 3 weeks later, after almost a month of traveling, the three Kunoichis arrived in a small town outside of Fire Country. "We need to find the hospital," Kushina said, holding her stomach in pain. 3 hours later, Anko and Kurenai was sitting next to Kushina as she held her newborn son. He is in perfect health, the doctor said as he finished giving Kushina the report on baby Naruto. Can I hold my brother? Anko asked. Kushina smiled. Of course you can, Anko, she said, handing her the baby. Be careful, Kurenai said as Anko grabbed the baby. Kushina laughed. Don't worry, Kur, she said. Is it safe for us to hold him? Kurenai asked, looking at the baby in Anko's hands. Of course it is. Want to hold him? Kushina said. Kurenai quickly shook her head. I'll drop him, she said. Don't worry, I'm right here. You will be fine, Kushina said. You think so? Kurenai asked quietly. She really did want to hold him, but was afraid she would drop him. Of course I do. Anko, give Kur Naruto, Kushina said. Okay, here you go, Kur, Anko said. He is so small, Kurenai said, taking the baby. Sensei, will you change his hair color? Anko asked, looking at Kushina. Yes, I will, but I have to wait a few months before I can do it, Kushina said. A year later, Kushina was walking around Whirlpool with Naruto in her arms. She was wearing an orange jacket that stopped below her breast. It has a blue strip that stretches from her wrist to the end of her jacket. She also is wearing black sport shorts that stopped at the top of her thigh. On her shorts is where she had her Hite 8. Under her shorts on her right leg she had medic tape and her kunai pouch over the tape. Her outfit was finished off by boots that went all the way up to the bottom of her thigh. Her long red hair was flowing freely behind her. Being back in her old home made her forget about everything that happened while in Konaha. In the year that Kushina had been back in the country, she was appointed leader of the place. During her first year she proved to be an excellent leader by removing Whirlpool from the smallest country ninja-wise to one of the largest out of all the countries that wasn't one of the Great Five villages. She also expertly made a treaty between Whirlpool and Kiri and Suna and was currently working on a way to make a treaty with Kumo. Whirlpool quickly became a power in trading world also, becoming the largest trade export of all the countries. Anko became a force in Whirlpool's armed forces as she rose through the ranks extremely fast. She was the youngest Chunin in Whirlpool's history at age 11, beating Kushina's old record by a few months. She was also the poisons expert of the country and created most of their poisons. Since she was younger than most genins, she wasn't allowed to get a genin team, but she wasn't complaining because she could use that time playing with Naruto. Plus her childish personality and habits made it hard to take her serious, which was the exact opposite of Kurenai, who had a serious personality. Her outfit consisted of a skirt that stopped mid-thigh and a fishnet shirt covering her entire upper body. She also had a jacket that stopped at her waist with sleeves large enough to use her hubis freely. Her Hite 8 was now on her waist over her skirt. Her entire outfit was brown. Kurenai wasn't no slouch as a kunoichi. Although she wasn't the force that her younger sister was, she still was one of the top ninjas in the country, and her genjutsu made up for everything she lacked in ninjutsu and taijutsu. She became a Chunin the year she joined Whirlpool's ninja force and got her first team only months later. She then proved to be a much better teacher than almost every Chunin, as her team passed the Chunin exams on their first try. In the year and a half she had been in Whirlpool, she led 3 teams that all passed the Chunin exams in their first try and was working on her 4th. Her outfit consisted of a long white dress with a red undershirt. Her Hite 8 was also on her waist. Kushina held Naruto while she watched toddlers run around happily playing with their parents. She looked down at Naruto while he made laughing noises. You like watching kids run around with their parents, don't you, Naruto-chan? She asked while tickling him and receiving more laughing from the little red-head boy. Lady Kushina, someone called out to her. Kushina turned. Yes, Yugi, she asked the boy who was just a few years older than she was. There is someone at the gate demanding to see you, he said. Oh, who is it? Kushina asked. It's a kunoichi, she says it's important and won't take no for an answer, Yugi replied. I see, I'll be there soon, Kushina said. Kushina started to walk towards the gate when Anko and Kurenai came up to her. Sensei, where are you going? Anko asked. Someone wants to see me at the gate, Kushina told them. Who is it? Kurenai asked, curious. Don't know, but they won't take no for an answer, Kushina told her 2 students. I can make them go away, Anko said with a smile. Anko, you don't need to threaten everyone who don't do what you want them to, Kurenai told her younger sister. You're just a nice, Anko said while making a face at Kurenai. Will you ever grow up, Anko? Kurenai asked. I am growing, Anko said. Are not, you're barely taller than Ruto, Kurenai said. Come down here and say that, I dare you, Anko said. Enough you two, we are at the gate, Kushina said as they was only a few yards from the gate. The kunoichi was wearing a full body robe with a hood and a mask. The only thing Kushina could make out was the Konaha hite ate and got pissed. What do you want? She asked in a hard voice. Kushi, it's me. The kunoichi said, taking off her mask. Kushina redirected her eyes from the hite ate to look the person in the eyes. Irie, what are you doing here? She asked, surprised to see the Hyuga. It's my daughter Hinata, she is in danger, Irie said. What do you mean? Kushina asked. Well, on the day she was born, Kyuubi attacked the village, and the Hokage and council decided to use Hinata as a jailer of the demon, Irie told her old friend. Kushina looked shocked. They sealed Kyuubi in your daughter, she asked. Yes, but since there have been constant attacks on her life. Even some Hyugas have tried to kill her, Irie said as she started to cry. And what have Hiyashi done to stop these attempted murders? Kushina asked. Irie just shook her head as she cried, holding her sleeping one-year-old daughter. Nothing. He let people try and kill his daughter, Kushina asked. He even tried to kill her yesterday, that's why I left, Irie said. But why come here? I'm sure you can go somewhere else that can protect your daughter better, Kushina asked. I don't know anyone else outside the village I would feel comfortable leaving her with, Irie said. Kushina sighed. There isn't much we can do to help you. If Konaha attacks looking for you, we won't be able to fight them. Even with our rapid growth over the last year, we still have only 1,000 ninjas. Konaha outmatches us 5 to 1, she said. I know, but I don't have anywhere else to go. I can't go back to Konaha, Irie said. Lady Kushina. Sorry to interrupt, but you might want to know that Kumo have signed your treaty, but put in a stipulation what will be decided by a future cage, Kushina's assistant said, coming up to her. What kind of stipulation? Kushina asked. Didn't say, it could be anything, but the Reikage did say it would be something reasonable, the assistant said. With this, that gives us protection from Kiri, Suna, and Kumo. We can let them live here since Konaha won't attack with the risk of one of those 3 countries attacking in our defense, Kurenai said. Kushina sighed. You have to throw out that hite ate before you can come in my compound, she said to Irie. Thank you so much, I am forever in your debt, Irie said as she threw her free arm around Kushina's neck and hugged her. Kushina wrapped her free arm around her waist. Don't worry about paying me back. You have been my best friend since the day I stepped in Konaha, she said. Lady Kushina, there is a problem on the west side of the village, an Anbu said. Why didn't you solve it? Kushina asked, looking at the Anbu. Well, I didn't know how to solve it, the Anbu replied. Oh, you completed the Anbu training, right? Kushina asked. Yes, the Anbu replied nervously. They covered how to handle any situation, right? Kushina asked. Yes, the Anbu replied. So why can't you solve it? Kushina asked. I didn't want them think I was taking the side of one or the other, the Anbu said nervously. How long you been in the Anbu? She asked. 1 month, he replied. Give me your mask, you're not suited for my Anbu, you're demoted, she said, holding her hand out. Please give me another chance, the Anbu begged. You want to join the village, right, Irie? Kushina asked without looking at her. That was the idea. Why? Irie asked, confused. Well, get his mask, Kushina said. What do you mean? Why can't you do it? Irie asked. I can, but I need to know something, Kushina said, looking at Irie. Fine, Irie said, then vanished. She then held out her hand with a mask in it to Kushina. What exactly did that prove? She asked. That you're willing to side with me, even if it doesn't make any sense as to why you're on my side, Kushina said, taking the mask. Naruto made a noise while reaching out to the mask. Do you want this mask, Ruto? She asked, holding the Ukami mask and pulling it just out of his reach every time he almost grabbed it. Kushi, if it's not any problem. I didn't bring anything, so I need to go shopping, Irie said. Sure, Anko, can you show her around? Kushina asked. Of course I will, sensei, let's go. No eyes, Anko said. Irie sighed. Why do you insist on calling me that? You know full well I have eyes, she asked. It's funny, Anko said, laughing. Grow up, Anko, Kurenai said. Shut up, Kurenai, you're not an adult yourself, Anko yelled at her. Are you too sure you're not secretly related? Kushina asked. The two shrugged. I'm pretty sure we are not related, Kurenai said. Let's go. If we get there early enough we can beat the midday rush, Anko said, leading Irie and the 1-year-old Hinata away. Lady Kushina, please give me a chance to get my position back, the now Chunin asked. I'll think about it, for now guard the gate, Kushina said and walked away. Anko and Irie walked through the Kunoichi clothing store. Can I help you? The clerk asked. No, we are fine, Anko said. Well, enjoy your shopping, the clerk said. I hate shopping, sensei sent me on purpose, Anko said once the clerk was gone. Don't worry, I'll be fast, Irie said. Irie went through all the clothes that was in the store and finally settled on a pair of long blue sport shorts, a tank top shirt that stopped a few inches above her belly button, and a jacket that went to her waist. What do you think? She asked. A lot of blue, but it's great, Anko said. This coming from the one who is wearing nothing but brown, Irie retorted. Okay, can we just leave? Those shop happy girls are coming, Anko said. In Konaha, Hiyashi walked to the Hokage's tower. Minato, he said walking in. What, Hiyashi? I'm busy, Minato replied, gesturing to the piles of paperwork. Have you seen Irie? Hiyashi asked. Nope, last I seen her was when she came complaining about the latest attacks on Hinata's life, Minato said as if he didn't care. Now that I think about it, I haven't seen Hinata today either, Hiyashi said. Minato looked at him. You don't think she took her outside the village, do you? He asked. That will be a problem off our hands. The Kyuubi container will be dead soon, Hiyashi said. Maybe not, Minato said. What do you mean? Hiyashi asked. Kushina is the leader of Whirlpool, the fastest growing country and Irie's best friend, plus it's only a day's travel from here, Minato said. You think she went there? Hiyashi asked. Well, Irie did give me hell the past year about what happened to her, so if I had to guess I'm betting she is in Whirlpool, Minato said. What will we do about his? We can't allow Whirlpool to gain control over the container, Hiyashi asked. I'll think of something, Minato said. Good, Hiyashi said, then headed out the door. Atsui, he said, nodding to her as she entered, and he left. What was that about? Atsui asked, holding their 1-year-old daughter. Nothing, just Irie ran away and took Hinata with her, Minato said, hugging his now wife. Oh, where could she have gone with that demon child? Atsui asked. I think she went to Whirlpool, Minato said. Isn't that where she lives? Atsui asked. Yes, Minato said. So what will you do? Atsui asked. I think I will have a meeting to let them know of the consequences if they continue to protect those two, Minato said. Atsui smiled. I'll go. I want to see her face when she finds out we are married and have a daughter, she said. Of course you will be there, Minato said, kissing her on the forehead. In Whirlpool, Anko, Kurenai, and Irie was sitting in Kushina's office as she read the scroll to them from Konaha. So basically we have to go to this meeting or risk a potential war with them, Irie asked. Yes, Kushina said, leaning back in her chair. And this is a problem. How? We can take them on, Anko asked. It's not that, I can't risk a war over nothing, and I don't want to be in a room with Minato or Atsui, Kushina said, spitting their names out with hate. We will come, Kurenai said. You don't have to, I will have my personal guards come, Kushina said. No you won't, we are a team, a family and families stick together. We are your personal guards, Anko stated with a serious tone. You won't leave us behind again, we are coming or you won't be going, Kurenai said. Kushina just looked at the two, not sure what to say. Did Anko just say something in a serious tone? Was all she could think to say. I guess we better get a babysitter for the two kids, Irie said. Kushina smiled. If you three are coming then you will need these, she said, pulling out a Habi mask, a Chitawa mask, and a Kitsune mask. Anko gets the Habi, Kur gets the Chitawa, and Irie gets the Kitsune mask, she said, putting on her own Ukami mask. In Waterfall Country, Kushina, Irie, Anko, and Kurenai arrived in Waterfall Country and went to where they was supposed to be meeting Minato. They arrived before anyone else and stayed hidden to see who all would be coming. After waiting for an hour, the Reikage arrived, followed by the Mizukage. The two sat on at the designated table and waited. Not long did the Hokage arrive with his protection. After waiting a little while longer, Kushina walked into the room. The daimyo looked around. Since all participating parties is here, can all the cages remove their hats, he asked. Everyone removed their hat while Kushina sat there with her mask on. Everyone looked at her. What, I'm not a cage and I didn't wear a hat, she said. Please remove your mask, the daimyo asked. As you request, Kushina said, and removed her Ukami mask. Minato and his guards glared at her and she glared back, showing that they couldn't force her to back down. The refuge and refuge now understood why Kushina requested them to be here to show that they would back her if they needed to. The daimyo, even though he wasn't a shinobi, could sense that the two groups didn't like each other. Kurenai and Irie was looking from their hiding spot when Kurenai noticed Anko was missing. "Where did Anko go?" she asked. Irie looked around with her Byakugan. "She is headed towards Konaha," she said. "Why would she go there?" Kurenai wondered. "Should we go get her?" Irie asked. "No, she is an expert at sneaking into places she does not belong. We will leave her alone right now. If she isn't back within the hour, then we will go find her," Kurenai said. "Okay, if you think that's best," Irie said. "I do. We wouldn't do anything but get in her way," Kurenai said. The daimyo cleared his throat. "Okay, let's begin, shall we?" he asked. "Of course, hand over the two Hyugas you're trying to protect," Minato said. "Make me," Kushina said in a childlike fashion. "I know you're angry, but there is no use in starting a war you can't win to protect someone who should be dead already," Minato said. "If she should be dead, then why is she still alive?" Kushina asked. "Stop playing these games and hand them over," Minato said, standing up from his chair. "Why don't you and your bitch take them from me?" Kushina said as she stood up. "Her name is Atsui and you will not mention her name again," Minato said darkly. "Bitch bitch bitch Ataui Atsui Atsui," Kushina sang. "What will you do if I don't stop mentioning her?" she taunted. "Say her name again, I dare you," Minato threatened. "Atsui, she is a big useless kunoichi. All she does is hide behind you for protection, like she is now standing there waiting for you to make me stop talking about her," Kushina said. "You bitch," the female Anbu being Minato yelled as she jumped at Kushina with her Anbu katana. Kushina pulled out a kunai and blocked the katana. "What's wrong? Is your old age slowing you down?" she taunted the older kunoichi. The daimyo, refuge, and refuge just watched in shock. Atsui kicked at Kushina, but it was blocked. "You're just mad because I took Minato from you," she yelled. "No, you can have him. He wasn't that good in bed anyway," Kushina said. "You wasn't saying that when you was in bed with him," Atsui yelled. "Really, I don't remember it being anything worth mentioning, plus he is only about 7 inches, Kushina said. She then let go of Atsui's leg and kicked her back across the room. Minato caught his wife. "You will regret putting your hands on her," he said. Yay, you're all talk," Kushina said. "Enough," the refuge yelled, getting their attention. "Now we are here for a reason and it's not to watch you three fight," he said. "They started it," Kushina said, pointing the finger at Minato and Atsui. "Well, let's get finished here," the daimyo said. "Either hand over Irie and Hinata or you will be facing war with us," Minato said. "I won't be handing over anyone," Kushina said. "Fine, then you have signed your country's death warrant," Minato said. "If you attack Whirlpool, I will send my own ninjas to protect them," the refuge said. "So will I," the refuge said. "So little man, are you willing war with two of the great villages for 2 people?" Kushina asked innocently. Minato glared. "Fine, keep them. But no, this isn't over," he said. "Let's go, my husband, we have been away from our daughter too long," Atsui said, wrapping her arm around Minato and leaning on him. "Yes, we have," Minato said. Kushina glared at the two. "How pathetic. You can't beat me, so you're trying to use you being married to make me jealous," she said, then turned and walked out. "Tell your fatherless son I said hi," Atsui said. Before anyone could see her move, Kushina had Atsui pinned against the wall with a kunai planted in her stomach and another pressed very hard against her neck. "Ever mention my son again and I will kill you before you can finish your statement," she threatened. Atsui's eyes was wide with fear. "Minato," she struggled out of her throat. Minato kicked at Kushina's head, making her release his wife so she wouldn't be hit. He then stood in front of Atsui protectively. "Attack my family again and I'll kill you," he said. "Let's see you try," Kushina said, getting ready to attack again. Kurenai, Irie, and Anko, who just came back, appeared next to Kushina. "If you want to fight her, you have to go through us," Irie said. "Not in my country you want. Everyone get out," the daimyo yelled. 4 years later, a 5-year-old Hinata and Naruto was running through the village with paint covering their body. Their latest victim of their pranks, the very large statue of Kushina in the middle of the town. How they was able to paint something so large without anyone seeing was beyond most people in the village, except for a group of 4 kunoichis. 3 of them was currently laughing their asses off from the painting. The 2 who painted the statue was laughing while they ran from the Chunins that chased them. They turned and ran face first to the only member of the 4 kunoichis who knew how they was able to paint it in broad daylight. "Now what should your punishment be for this?" she asked. "Mommy, it wasn't dishonest," Hinata tried in an innocent tone. "So I guess the paint that's covering you isn't your fault either?" she asked. "Of course it's not, Auntie Irie. Those Chunins knocked it on us," Naruto lied. "Tell it to someone else who believes you," Irie said, grabbing the two by the back of their shirts and pulled them to the compound. "So those Chunins couldn't catch them?" Kushina asked as Irie brought them in. "No," Irie said. "Nice one you two," Kurenai laughed. "Yay, I owe you lunch for doing it without being caught while painting the statue," Anko said. "I can't believe you two are encouraging them. Kushina, tell those two they can't keep this up or the kids will think it's okay to always act like this," Irie said. Kushina laughed awkwardly. "Yay, what she said," while scratching the back of her head and smiling widely. "You made a bed also, didn't you?" Irie asked. "That they couldn't do it and come back to the compound before you found them," Kushina said. Irie shook her head. "Am I the only adult in this family?" she asked. "Is that a rhetorical question?" the 21-year-old village leader asked. "Yes, it was rhetorical, Kushina," Irie said. "Good," Kushina said, smiling. "Now who is going to clean that paint up?" Irie asked. "Don't worry, I gave them a water-based paint. It will wash off when it rains," Anko said. Kushina clapped her hands. "Okay, you two get cleaned up. You're coming with me to the office," she said. "Yay, can I wear your hat, Mommy?" Naruto asked. "Sure you can," Kushina said. The 4 kunoichis watched as Naruto and Hinata flipped and bounced off the walls to their rooms. In Konaha, Atsui walked down the street with her 5-year-old daughter and her 1-year-old adopted son in her arms. Her 5-year-old ran around every pole they passed. "Tasuki, don't go too far ahead," Atsui said. "Okay, Mommy," Tasuki said as she flipped to walk on her hands. Someone came running around the corner and knocked Tasuki off her hands. "Sorry," the boy said. "Oh, idiot, that hurt," Tasuki yelled at him. "Tasuki, be nice," he said. "Sorry," Atsui said. "He should watch where he is going. I was here first," Tasuki said. "I'm sorry, I'm running from my brother," the boy said. "Well, I forgive you this one time," Tasuki said. "I'm Sasuke, what's your name?" he asked. "Well, Sasuke, you're still in my way, move," Tasuki said. "It's Sasuke," he corrected. "Whatever," Tasuki said. "Tasuki," Atsui said. "Okay. I'm Tasuki," she said. "Sasuke, didn't I tell you not to run off like that?" his brother asked. "You're just mad because you can't catch me, Itachi," Sasuke said. "Whatever, we have to get home," Itachi said and grabbed Sasuke's shirt and started to walk away. In Whirlpool. Walking through the gates of Whirlpool was 2 kunoichis. One was blonde, made everyone look at her as she walked through the village. The other was curious as to why everyone was looking at them. "Why are everyone looking at you like that, Tsunade?" she asked. "Because I'm a senin, it happens everywhere I go," Tsunade said. "Did your Hokage send you to check up on my son?" someone asked from behind them. The two turned and looked at the kunoichi. "Kushina?" Tsunade asked. "Mommy, who is the lady?" Naruto asked from on Kushina's neck. "Tsunade of the Senins," Kushina said while glaring at Tsunade. "Tsunade, did you do something to anger her?" the black-haired kunoichi asked. "I don't think so, Shizune," Tsunade said. "Answer my question. Why are you here?" Kushina asked. "I'm here to visit the country, it's what I do," Tsunade said. "Well, Konaha ninjas are not allowed in my country," Kushina said. "Did I miss something?" Tsunade asked, confused. "Kushi, let's go into your office and talk about this," Irie said with Hinata on her neck. "Anko!" Naruto yelled and jumped off Kushina's neck onto his unsuspecting sister. "Naruto, don't do that again," Anko yelled as she caught him before he hit the ground. Naruto just laughed. "Kurenai, can you watch Hinata?" Irie asked. "Of course, come on you ball of energy," Kurenai said. Hinata happily jumped from her mother's neck to Kurenai's waiting arms. "Let's play tag, then play catch the kitsune, then play tag again, then we can play ninja, then we can play tag again, then we can play dress up, then eat and play tag again," Hinata said happily. Kurenai laughed. "What are we going to do with these two, Anko?" she asked. "I don't know, maybe we should leave them here and run away," Anko said. "No," Hinata and Naruto yelled. "Let's do it," Kurenai said as she sat Hinata down and ran away. Anko did the same thing. "Cute kids," Tsunade said as she watched Naruto and Hinata chase Anko and Kurenai. Let's get this over, Kushina said as she led them to her office. Once everyone was in the office she turned to Tsunade. So did he send you or not, she asked. No one sent me anywhere. What are you talking about? Tsunade asked. Minato, he has been going out with Atsui the entire time he was with Kushi, Irie said. Really I wasn't aware of that, Tsunade said. They even tried to rub it in my face a few years ago, but I got them back good, Kushina said with a satisfied smile. What did you do? Shizune asked. I stabbed her with a kunai and now she can't have any more kids. I was going to cut off his testicles but the waterfall daimyo kicked us out his country before I could, Kushina said. I thought you and Minato was having a kid, why would he ruin that? Tsunade asked. I had a kid, I'm both Naruto's mother and father, Kushina said. Okay so why are you here in Whirlpool Irie? Tsunade asked. Hinata has the Kyuubi sealed in her. The village tried to kill her almost every day the first year she was born. The day before I came here Hiashi tried to kill her, Irie said. Oh, was all Tsunade said. 7 years later, a 12-year-old Naruto walked into Kushina's office and sat on his special chair right next to her. Kushina looked over at her son curiously as he put on her newly made cage hat. He was wearing black pants with his kunai pouch on his right leg. He had on an orange jacket that stopped at his waist with a blue strip under his arm that extended from his wrist all the way to his hip. He had on standard shinobi shoes, on his hands and arms was medic tape, but it was unseen except on his hands. She smiled every time he put that thing on. Can't wait until you become the Naidame Azukage can you? She asked. Nope, I'm going to be the best Naidame in history of all Nidames, Naruto said. Well first you have to prove you deserve the position, Kushina said. Who better to get than me? I am your legacy, Naruto said. Maybe, but I'm not just going to give you the position, for all you know, someone else might be better for the position. Like Hinata? Kushina said. That's no fair, she gets extra help from Kyuubi, Naruto said. Kyuubi is part of her, Kushina said. Fine I just have to get stronger, Naruto said. I know you will. Where is Hinata anyway? You two are always together, Kushina asked. She went with Auntie somewhere, Naruto said. Oh, Kushina aid then there was a knock on the door, come in, she said. Tsunade walked in the room. How has things been since I've been gone, she asked. Fine, Naruto is a genin, and one of the strongest genins, only Hinata is stronger and that's if she uses Kyuubi's chakra, Kushina said. Without it? Tsunade asked. Well skill-wise they're even, although Naruto takes my punch you in the face approach. Hinata prefers Irie's outsmart you approach. The only real advantage Hinata has is a larger chakra system and more energy, but Naruto isn't a slouch in those areas either, Kushina said. Are they going to take the Chunin exams? Tsunade asked. Of course, Naruto can't wait to show Minato that he is a better shinobi than he will ever be, Kushina said with a smug smile. I bet he can't, but I found someone you will be interested in, Tsunade said. Who is that? Kushina asked. Jiraiya, Tsunade said. Really, did you tell him what happened? Kushina asked. Yay, he won't take any side on this since technically he is both kids' godfather. He is going to train both to the best of his abilities, Tsunade said. Kushina smiled. I get first dibs on training, she said. He is at the bathhouse right now. Hope Anko and Kurenai are not in it, or no one will get any training from him, Tsunade said. Don't worry, they have strict orders not to kill after what happened last time, Kushina said. Oh, he is staying here for 3 months then going to Konaha for 3 months to train his goddaughter. He said after the exams he will take them both as apprentices to train them at the same time for a few years, Tsunade said. I don't know about that. Minato might try and have his daughter do something to my son, Kushina said. Why not let Nada come with me, Naruto suggested. I'll think about it, Kushina said. Anko walked into the room. Ruto there you are I've been looking for you, she said. Really why? Naruto asked confused. Training, Kiki is already at the training grounds, Anko told him. I thought you cancelled training today, Naruto said. Anko looked at him with an amused look. I don't remember that, but I do remember you trying to get out of training, she said. Kushina looked at Naruto. You're not trying to skip out on your training are you? She asked. What of course not, she really said training was cancelled, Naruto protested. Do you want to spend the day in the ocean again? Kushina asked. No, I'll be at the training ground, Naruto said and ran out the room. What am I going to do with that boy? He is too much like me, Kushina said. Well, it's better than the alternative, Anko said. Kushina smiled. It is, isn't it? Speaking of the alternative, I have a list of the genins in these exams. And it seems like holding Ruto and Nata out the exams until this year was the right thing to do, she said. So that daughter of his he mentioned is in these exams, Anko asked. Not only that, the Yamanaka, Nara, Imikichi, Inazuka, Aburame, Hyuga, and Uchiha heirs are in these exams, Kushina said. Anko had a wicked smirk on her face. So how long until we get to see my brother and sister kick their asses, she asked. 1 month exactly, Kushina said, matching her smirk. Tsunade saw their smirks and had a bad feeling about the upcoming exams. A month later, Kushina walked up to Konaha's gate, followed closely by Anko and her first genin team, which consisted of Naruto, Hinata, and Kiki. Walking next to Anko was Kurenai and her newest genin team, which consisted of Ryu, Ho, and Kai, all was males. All the genins had masks on. Irie also followed with her, bringing up the rear, making sure no one would sneak up on them. The guards wasn't surprised to see the Azukage walk up with the genins. Azukage-sama, they said, letting her through the gate. Kushina just glanced at them as she led her ninjas through the gate. Everyone turned, wanting to see what not only the only female Kage in history, but the youngest Kage looked like. Kushina tilted her hat so it covered her face as she smirked as they tried to get a good look at her. Kurenai, Anko, and Irie made a circle around the genins with Kushina at the front of the circle. As they walked further into the village, the Hokage and a few others stepped in front of them, halting their advance. How rude to stop a Kage who came to see her genins in their first Chunin exams, Kushina said with a hint of amusement. Why bring him to these exams? You held him out of the last 4 exams, why let him come to my village to take these exams? Minato asked. Kushina shrugged. To embarrass you in front of your village, she said with humor. Kushi-sama? Naruto asked behind his mask. Of course, Kushina said. Naruto and Hinata stepped up and looked at everyone in front of them. They nodded to each other and removed their masks, shocking everyone. Minato and Hiyashi looked at the two as if they wasn't worth the time. What do you two want? Atsui asked. The 2 genins smirked, then jumped, planting their fist right in their respective fathers' noses. Everyone but the Whirlpool ninjas looked surprised at the two. Those 2 hold a grudge like no other, Anko laughed. How dare you put a hand on our leader? Yelled a random person in the crowd. From behind Hiyashi and Minato, the Hyuga heir and Namikaze heir stepped up, prepared to defend their leader and father respectively. You will regret that, the Hyuga said. Hinata tilted her head to the side. Are you a girl or boy? She asked. Naruto started to laugh. Enough, you two, we have things to do, Kushina said in a voice that demanded respect. Yes, Kushi-sama. The 2 replied, putting their mask back on and falling back into the protective circle. Kushina groaned at hearing them call her that. She hated when she was called Sama, especially by her son and daughter figure. Tasuki watched as they walked past to their appointed hotel. That boy, I must get to know him, she thought to herself, then walked off. Tasuki, where are you going? Kakashi asked. Tasuki shrugged. I'm hungry, she said, and continued to walk. Mom, are you sure we won't get kicked out the exams for that? Naruto asked. Yes, I'm sure, sweetie. Why don't you all go eat or something? Kushina said. Okay. I'm starving, Hinata said as her stomach growled in agreement. Shut up, Q, we will eat soon, Hinata said to her stomach and inner demon. Come on, you two, Anko said. Oh no, you don't, I'm taking you. We don't need you influencing them to prank the entire village, Irie said. Anko smirked. I wouldn't do that, she said. Yay, whatever, come on, Kurenai said, pulling Anko and leading her team out the hotel. Irie led Anko's team around looking for somewhere to eat. I remember this place. Kushi single-handedly kept them in business with how much she ate here, she said. Naruto read the name, Ichiraku Ramen. Let's try it, he said. Sounds good, Hinata said. They walked into the restaurant and took a seat at the counter. Hey, you're the ones from the gate, they heard. They turned and came face to face with a girl that had blonde hair and blue eyes. She was wearing standard shinobi pants and a shirt that fit her form perfectly. I'm Tasuki, she said with a smile. Hinata, Kiki, Naruto, and Irie looked at the genin. Well, I want to welcome you to Konaha, Tasuki said. Well, we thank you for the welcome, Irie said as the 3 genins just looked at her. It's rude to stare, she added as she started to eat her ramen. The 3 started to eat their ramen. Well, I'm the daughter of the Hokage, Tasuki said. Good for you, Naruto said, not looking at her. Is there a reason you hate him so much? Tasuki asked as nicely as she could, even though she was getting pissed at how they was ignoring her. Does it matter? Naruto said. He is my father, of course it matters to me, Tasuki said. Look, unless you have something important to say, stop talking to us or I will make you. Hinata snapped at the 12-year-old. Tasuki was shocked but didn't let it show. You better show me respect or I will make you, she said, glaring at Hinata. I would like to see you try, Hinata said. Tasuki smirked. I will be glad to show you how skilled I am. Being the daughter of the Hokage has a lot of advantages, she said. Like not even being his firstborn child, Hinata said, then immediately put her hands over her mouth. Hinata, Irie said, making said girl sit down and look as if she was about to get in trouble. What does that mean? Tasuki asked. Everything about your precious father isn't true. Let's go you three, Irie said, and led them out the restaurant. They walked into the hotel they was staying in and Kushina looked at Irie in confusion. What's wrong? She asked. Someone talks too much, Irie said. Kushina looked immediately at Naruto and Hinata. What did you two do? She asked. It wasn't me, Mom, Naruto said, immediately putting his hands up in defense. Nata? Kushina asked. I may have got angry and told Tasuki that she wasn't her father's firstborn, Hinata said, looking at the ground. You did what? Kushina yelled so loud it was heard across the village. Sorry, Auntie Kushi, Hinata said. Kushina took a deep breath. Okay, you two don't talk to anyone from Konaha, she told the two troublemakers. So I'm not in trouble? Hinata asked. No, but don't let this happen again, Kushina said. I won't, Hinata said happily. Hinata, Irie said. Yes, Mom, Hinata answered. You're to stay in your room for the next 2 days, she said. But Mom, it was an accident, Hinata protested. I don't care, you know that you was forbidden to mention that, Irie said. Don't worry Nata, I'll stay with you, Kiki said to her friend and teammate. Me too, Naruto said. You two are the best friends ever, Hinata said. At the Namikaze compound, Tasuki walked into her home and saw her mother in the kitchen. Mom, can I ask you something? She asked. Of course, Atsui said. Do Daddy have another kid that I don't know about? Tasuki asked, looking at her mother expecting an answer. Atsui stopped what she was doing and turned to her daughter. What makes you think that? She asked nervously. Well, for one, that boy from Whirlpool looks like him even though his hair is red. For two, I feel like I'm somehow connected to him. 3, the Azukage seems to have a lot of hate for both you and father. 4, that girl from Whirlpool said that I wasn't his firstborn. And finally, you got nervous when I asked you about it. Tasuki told her mother, holding up a finger for every point. Atsui sighed. It's not my place to tell you that. You will have to ask Minato himself, she finally said. I will, Tasuki said and turned to leave. Be back in time for dinner and stay away from those Whirlpool scum, Atsui called after her. Okay, Mom, Tasuki said as she continued to walk out the kitchen. Tasuki walked into the Hokage's tower. I need to see my father, she said to the assistant. Go on in, all he is doing is setting up the village's security, she told the young girl. Thank you, Tasuki said with a smile and walked into the office. Hi Dad, she said as she entered. Tasuki, what do I owe the pleasure of being visited by my favorite daughter? Minato asked as he smiled at her. I'm your only daughter, Tasuki said. All the more reason to be my favorite, Minato said. He then motioned for her to come closer. Once she was seated on his lap with her head rested on his shoulder, he spoke again. What's wrong? He asked. Dad, I ran into those ninjas from Whirlpool and one of them mentioned that I wasn't your FRST born. Is that true? She asked, getting straight to the point. Minato sighed. I knew one day this would come up, he said. What, Daddy, tell me, Tasuki said. You see, sweetie, a long time ago I was engaged to marry Kushina Uzumaki, the Cage of Whirlpool, he said. What happened? Tasuki asked. Well, it was an arranged marriage. I went with it for a while, but I didn't really like her that much. She was too much of a tomboy. Then I met your mother and well, things happened and I married her instead, Minato said. That doesn't answer my question though, Tasuki pointed out. Well, no, you're not my only child. I had a son with Kushina. I'm not sure of his name, Minato said. It's the red-haired boy, isn't it? Tasuki asked. Yes, and his left hand hurts just as much as Kushina's did, Minato said. So I have another brother, Tasuki said. Unfortunately, yes, Minato said. Why did you keep this from me? Tasuki asked. Because I didn't want my past to come back to hunt me. I was hoping I would never see them again, Minato said. Oh, I'm going for a walk, she said. Okay, and remember you will always be first in my heart, Minato said. I know, Tasuki said. 2 days later, Hinata walked into the main room of the hotel suite they was staying in. She found her mom sitting with Kushina and was leaning on each other as if they was hugging. Mom, can I go outside now? It's so boring in here, she whined. Not until tomorrow, Irie said. Please, I'll be good, I promise, Hinata pouted. No, Irie said. Hinata pouted and walked back to the room that Naruto and Kiki was in. Let's take them outside. Those three has been cooped up in that room for the last day and a half, Kushina said. No, she needs to learn she can't say whatever she wants, Irie said. I know that, but this is their first time in a large shinobi village that wasn't Kumo, besides we will be with them, Kushina said. Fine, but only this one time. Next time they will serve their punishment out in full, Irie said. Okay, Ruto, Nata, and Kiki get cleaned up, we are going outside, Kushina called out. As soon as that left her mouth the two heard a lot of movement, then 3 different showers turn on. Wow, they must be ready to get some fresh air, Irie said. They was walking around the village when they saw Tasuki talking to another kunoichi who had on a Konaha headband. I can't believe you have another brother, the heard. I know, all this time I was told that I was the oldest child. What should I do, Panda? Tasuki asked. I don't know, you said it was the cute redhead from Whirlpool, right? The girl named Panda asked. Yes, Tasuki answered. Maybe we should look for him, I would like to meet him, Panda said. Why aren't you dating Neji? Tasuki asked. Not anymore, Panda answered. Tenten, why did you run like that? They heard. Neji, leave me alone, I'm done with you. The girl who now was being called Tenten responded. Let me make it up, Neji begged. No, I caught you kiss Lee. You know how gross that is. He is a boy, Tenten said in a disgusted voice. I didn't kiss him. Sasuke tripped him when they was sparring and Lee happened to fall on me when I was laying down, Neji explained. You didn't try and push him off you either, Tenten pointed out. My hands was trapped behind my head, Neji said. Whatever, the best we will ever be is friends, Tenten said, leaving no room for discussion. Neji growled in frustration and walked away. He really kissed Lee, ew, Tasuki said. I know, then he tried to kiss me, Tenten said. Sorry for your luck, Panda. All the guys in this village find ways to kiss other people, Tasuki said. Yay, maybe I can get a date with your new brother, Tenten said. Unknown to anyone but Kushina and Irie, Hinata let out a low growl at the thought of her putting the moves on Naruto. Kushina looked over at Irie to confirm if she heard that growl or if her mind was playing tricks on her. When Irie gave her the same look, she knew she had heard right. Good luck, Tasuki laughed. What, you don't think I can get a date with him? Tenten asked. No, all I'm saying is that his teammate is very short-tempered, Tasuki said. Anyway, we should look for them, Tenten said. I'm still not sure that's the right thing to do, Tasuki said. You're just scared of being turned away by your brother, Tenten said. Shut up, Panda, and unless you forgot I have a younger brother, Tasuki said. I didn't forget, but even you said they treat him like he is the only kid they have, Tenten pointed out. Not all the time, Tasuki said. Really, didn't you just run away 3 days ago because they blamed you for everything even after they witnessed him doing most of the stuff they blamed you for? Tenten asked. Shut up, Tasuki hissed out and started to walk away. Tasuki, you can't keep running from your problems. When you decide to look for him, let me know and I'll join you, Tenten said and walked home. Tasuki, wait up, she heard. Great, what now? Tasuki said, turning around and saw her teammate running up to her. What, Sasuke? She asked. Kakashi-sensei wants us for a meeting, Sasuke said. Tasuki was about to leave their team meeting when Kakashi stopped her. Tasuki, hold on, he said. Yes, Kakashi, she asked. Don't believe what those ninjas from Whirlpool say, he told her. Tasuki looked shocked. What are you talking about? She asked. Don't think I don't know about your meeting them a few days ago. Remember where your loyalties are, he told her. Is this another less than trash speech you always give me? Tasuki asked. No, but apparently I need to give you another one, Kakashi said. Why, all I'm doing is trying to get to know my older brother, Tasuki said. Everything doesn't need to be known, Kakashi said. Why? Tasuki asked. Because the truth isn't always the best thing to find out. It's a lesson you need to learn fast if you're to make it as a kunoichi, Kakashi said. Why is everyone so afraid of me knowing who my brother is? It's my birthright to know who he is, Tasuki yelled in frustration. And what will you do when you know who he is? What will you do when you find something about him that you don't like? What if they try and kill you? Kakashi asked calmly. At least I will know the truth about my brother before I die. What else have you all kept from me? Do I have a long-lost sister somewhere? Is my father even my real father? What about my mother? Do she have any stray kids somewhere? Tasuki yelled, then turned and ran away, leaving a shocked Kakashi behind. Kakashi shook his head and vanished in a puff of smoke. How did your talk with her go? The Hokage asked. Not good, she is doubting everything we do. She thinks we are lying about something else, particularly you and Atsui, Kakashi told him. I see, bring me Tenten please, the Hokage asked. Sure, Kakashi said. A few minutes Kakashi returned with an annoyed-looking Tenten. Sorry for interrupting your training, but I have an S-ranked mission for you, the Hokage said. What an S-ranked, but I'm only a genin, Tenten said in surprise. I know, you're the perfect person for the mission, the Hokage said. What's the mission? Tenten asked. Keep Tasuki away from the ninjas from Whirlpool until the exams are over and you will be paid in full as soon as they leave the village, the Hokage said. That's all I have to do? Tenten asked. Yup, that's all, the Hokage said. Okay, I accept the mission, Tenten said. Good, you start immediately, the Hokage said. Tenten nodded and left out the office thinking about her mission. She walked out the tower and ran into Tasuki. Tenten, what are you doing in the Hokage's tower? She asked. Tenten looked at her best friend thinking what to do. I have an S-ranked mission, she said, deciding to tell her the truth. Really, what is it? Can I help? Tasuki asked in excitement. Well, you promised not to overreact, Tenten asked. Why would I overreact? Tasuki asked. Well, the mission is to keep you away from the Whirlpool ninjas, Tenten said. What? How could you accept that mission? You know I want to get to know my brother, Tasuki asked with hurt in her voice. Look Tasuki, I'm sorry, but I couldn't pass up the chance at my first S-ranked mission, Tenten said. I know, but your mission is to prevent the one thing I really want, Tasuki said. I know, but my mission has nothing to do with me staying away from them. As long as you're not seen around them, then the mission will be successful after they leave, Tenten said with a smile as she tried to hint what she was thinking. Tasuki quickly caught on and smiled. You're right. I have all my life to talk to him. I'll make sure your mission is successful, she said, and the two turned and walked off. Tenten found the Azucage and walked up to her. Excuse me, she said. Kushina turned and looked at the two genin. Yes, she asked. Well, I have a problem and I need your help, Tenten said, thinking of a way to explain her mission. Kushina looked at the girl. I'm all up for helping a young kunoichi, but why come to me when there are plenty of kunoichis that are part of this village you can get help from, she asked. Well, it involves you and one of your ninjas, Tenten said slowly. You're curious about my son, Kushina guessed. She figured she was correct when the other girl's eyes looked up at her quickly. Well, I can see from your reaction that I'm right, so ask away, she added. Well, my best friend Tasuki, as you know, is the daughter of the Hokage. Well, I have an S-ranked mission to keep her away from your ninjas until the end of the exams. But she really wants to get to know her brother, Tenten said. A real problem, tell you what, because you're being honest about your mission. I'll make sure none of my ninjas come around you too. But in return I want you both to take a mission that sends you to Wave after the exams, and that way you can get to know everything about Naruto that you want, Kushina said. You have a deal, Tasuki said immediately. Good, now I have to go. Good luck in the exams, Kushina said as she walked away. Well, that was easy, Tenten said. Tasuki turned to her. You're crazy, we could have been caught, she said. Tenten shrugged, but we wasn't, and being a kunoichi means sometimes we have to break rules so they work for us. Plus you get to meet your brother in a few weeks, she said. I guess, you're not going to try and hit on him, are you? Tasuki asked. I'm making no promises, Tenten said. You're evil, Tasuki said. Hey, I'm just keeping my options open, besides he is kind of cute, Tenten said. Tasuki rolled her eyes. Let's go before my parents get any ideas, she said. Sure, I need someone to help me sharpen my weapons anyway, Tenten said. Oh no, I'm not helping you this time. Remember what happened last time, Tasuki said. Tenten smiled. That wasn't my fault, she said. Yay, those spears just magically appeared behind my. I couldn't walk for a week, Tasuki said. Please, it will pass the time. Plus it will pass the time until the beginning of the exams faster, Tenten said. Okay, no games, all we do is sharpen you infinite number of weapons, Tasuki said. Good, let's go, Tenten said. 2 days later, Anko and Kurenai led their genins up to the academy. Well, we taught you everything we could to get you to this point. Time to put your excellent teamwork to good use and pass these exams, Kurenai said to her genins. Alright, my first genins to take the exams, she heard Anko. Anko-sensei, we are the first genins you ever had, Kiki pointed out. Kiki, stop ruining my moment. You will have yours after you pass these exams. They are way easier than the graduation test you had to go through back at home, Anko said. What exactly are we going to do for these exams? Naruto asked. Well, the first test is. Anko was caught off by Kurenai's hand meeting the back of her head. Ouch, what was that for? She asked. Grow up, Anko. You can't tell them what the exams are. It will give them an unfair advantage, Kurenai said. Right, and using a 10,000-year-old demon in training to increase their speed, agility, and instincts isn't cheating, Anko asked. Kurenai was about to come back but stopped short. Just come on, she finally said, pulling her sister behind her. The 6 genins watched their sisters walk away. Okay. I guess we should get going, Naruto said, stepping up to the plate, still trying to prove he could be a leader. Everyone looked at him. Right, let's go, led on Naruto, Hinata said. Follow me, Naruto said. They walked into the academy and noticed it was quiet and empty. They walked further into it. This is the day of the exams, right? Ryu asked. Yay, it's circled on my calendar, Kiki answered, showing them the calendar. I don't like this, Naruto said. What is going on? I hate surprises, Po asked. Genjutsu, all 6 said at the same time. They all brought their hands in front of their face, Kai, they said. The world around them shimmered and broke, showing that the hall was indeed packed like it should be. They finally broke it, someone yelled. Took them long enough, someone else yelled. Naruto, do something, Hinata whispered. Naruto flashed through some hand signs faster than most of the Konaha genins could see. False illusion, he said, and the 6 of them vanished from sight. All the genins looked at them in surprise. I'm glad sister taught us that jutsu, Naruto said. Useless jutsus won't work against us. They heard then the genjutsu was broke. Hinata, Naruto whispered. Hinata stepped behind Naruto and bent her head down so that her hair was covering the side of her face and made a one-hand sign. 2 both on the ceiling, hidden behind a genjutsu. One directly in front of us, the other directly behind us, she whispered back to him. Naruto smirked. Prank statue, he asked. Prank 1. Hinata responded with humor and mischief in her voice. The 2 went through the needed hand signs too fast for anyone to keep up. Specialty jutsu. Prank 5, they said at the same time. Everyone looked around but found nothing different. You 2 can stop hiding, we already know you're there. Uchiha and Hyuga. Hinata said with a hidden voice of hate that only Naruto picked up. He looked at her and she just shrugged, her way of telling him he already know why she hate them. So you're a censor, you're better than I thought, but your jutsu didn't work, the Hyuga said. Don't underestimate us or you will be humiliated, Naruto said. You 2 couldn't get a jutsu to work. How do you plan to humiliate us? The Uchiha asked. Everyone looked at the 2 and started to laugh. What's so funny? The Hyuga asked. Everyone is as crazy as I always said they were, the Uchiha said. Maybe you 2 should look at yourselves, Tenten laughed out. The 2 looked at each other and their eyes went wide, then looked down at themselves. They both was dressed pink women dresses complete with the pink shoes and makeup. You 2 are dead. They yelled at the laughing pranksters. They threw themselves off the ceiling and hit the 2 directly in the face. Not so funny now, is it? The Hyuga asked. Actually, it's even funnier since you just hit a shadow clone. Naruto laughed from the spot that the Uchiha was. Yay, for elite clan members you 2 sure are lacking common sense, who attack someone head-on while dressed in bright pink. Hinata laughed from the Hyuga's spot. I'm going to kill you, the Uchiha yelled. No Sasuke, that won't work on those 2, the Hyuga said. Oh, you learn fast, a direct approach will never work against them. I should know, I tried, Kiki said from the sideline. Shut up, the Hyuga said. Come over here and say that, Kiki challenged. Kiki, he isn't worth your time, besides he would have a harder time hitting you than he is with us, Hinata said. Whatever. Neji, what do you suggest? Sasuke asked. Well, we need them to come to us, Neji said. How? Sasuke asked. Make them mad, Neji said. Good luck, you're looking at the 2 happiest people you will ever meet. I have known them since we was 5 and I never once saw them angry, Kiki said. I know exactly how to make them mad, Neji said with a smirk. Sasuke thought for a minute. Well, you see, I'm not sure if I should say anything, but there is a rumor going around that the Izukage was used by the Hokage as a toy for his pleasure, and when he was done with her he threw her out the village like a rag doll, he finally said. I heard that rumor, but I have one also. There is this rumor in the Hyuga clan that former wife of Lord Hiashi was kicked out because she was caught having with every male that was a registered Chunin within the clan, Neji said. The 4 Whirlpool ninjas looked at each other and slowly backed away from the soon-to-be-dead Genins. Tenten saw this and pulled Tsuki. I think we should back away from those idiotic teammates we have, she said. Why I want to see this, Tsuki said. Look around, do you notice who isn't here anymore? Tenten asked. Tsuki looked around. You're right. Where did those Whirlpool ninjas go? She asked. Exactly, something bad is about to happen, Tenten said. Hinata and Naruto dramatically changed. The two was deathly quiet. Both had their eyes closed. And both had strange-looking 3-pronged kunais appear in their hands out of nowhere. And to top it off, their chakra signature shot up higher than what any Genin's chakra signature should be. Tsuki looked at them and immediately knew what they was used for. The smirks on Sasuke's and Neji's face vanished when the two vanished, and they couldn't sense or see them. Even with their dojutsus active, they couldn't find the two. Everyone looked around nervously. Say what you want about us, but the moment you say anything about our mothers, especially things that is not true, is when you cross the line. They heard the two voices at the same time, but oddly enough it sounded like they was everywhere in the hallway. Neji, I can't find them, Sasuke said, looking around with his Sharingan. I can't either, Neji said, looking around with his Byakugan. Freeze, they heard. Everyone looked at where the voice came from and was surprised to see the Izukage and her Anbu, both who looked annoyed at something. The Anbu pulled her arm in front of her face, Kai, she said, and they was finally able to see the two Genins standing in front of the now nervous Sasuke and Neji with their strange-looking kunai, just one wrong move from going through their necks. Save it for the exams, the Anbu said. Naruto, Hinata, you already know the truth. Don't let them get you this worked up again, the Izukage said. Then the two vanished. Kiki, Ryu, Po, Kai ran up to the two. Let's go before anything else happens, Kiki said, and pulled Hinata and Naruto by hands away from everyone towards the exam room. What just happened? How can a genjutsu be put on yourself like that? Sasuke asked, confused. I don't know, Neji said. Looks like they met their match. We don't have to keep them in line anymore, Tenten whispered as they walked up to them. Good, I hope someone kicks their asses soon or I will have to do it myself, Tsuki said. The 20 teams that passed the first test was waiting for the protector of the second exam when Sasuke stood up. Looks like the losers from Whirlpool isn't so worthless after all, he said. Do you have to be so troublesome? A lazy Genin asked. Oh, shut up, Shikamaru. You're just mad because you're not as cool as Sasuke-kun, the pink-haired Genin said. Holy crap, is that your real hair color? How did you make it this far with bright pink hair? Naruto yelled. Shut up, you're wearing blindingly bright orange, she yelled back. I have been a shinobi since I was 8 years old and I have never failed a mission, Naruto said. Hinata and Kiki both smacked him in the head. Shut up, Naruto, Kiki said. So what? All that means is that you're a useless shinobi, the pink-haired girl replied. Actually, the Izukage held us out of the exams until now, because we have so many ninjas that all our Genins get the chance to fully develop their skills, Kiki said. Who are you, his spokesperson? The pink-haired girl asked. No, I'm the oldest and leader of this team, Kiki said. You're only older by a few months, Naruto said. Still older, Kiki shrugged. I don't care who is older, you're all useless, Sasuke said. Kiki vanished from sight. Not even Hinata and Naruto could see her. I don't know what your problem is and I don't care, but if you continue to underestimate me I will make you pay, she said from behind him while holding a kunai to his neck. How can you be so fast? The pink-haired Kunoichi asked. That don't concern you, Kiki said. Just then a Chunin walked in. Alright. Looks like this year has a lot of promise. Follow me, he said, then turned and walked out with everyone following him. He led them to a giant stadium. Okay. For this part of the exam you will have to use teamwork to pass. Each team will fight a Chunin. In order to win you must either get the Chunin to admit defeat or last until the 10 minutes runs out. If even one of your teammates is defeated then your team fail, he said. Up in the stadium, Anko looked at Kurenai, then at Kushina. I thought that this part was supposed to be held in the Forest of Death, she asked. It was, Kurenai said. I wasn't aware of a change in the exam, Kushina said out loud. It was a last-minute change, to better test the wonderful genins, Minato said. Kushina was about to retort but stopped herself. Fine, continue, she said. Up first will be Team Anko from Whirlpool v Kakashi from Konaha, the Chunin said. Oh, I do hope your genins can handle a little 1-on-3 against a Chunin for at least 10 minutes, Minato said. I do hope your pervert isn't too busy reading his porn to keep from getting embarrassed, Kushina shot back. Begin, the Chunin said. Kakashi stood there with his book out reading as the three genins watched him with no intent on moving. After a while Kakashi looked at them. What are you waiting for? He asked. I see no reason to jump into fighting a Chunin, Naruto said. Besides, the rules never stated we have to actually fight you. Just survived 10 minutes against you. And we have been standing here for 9 minutes already, Hinata said. Kakashi tilted his head to the side then shrugged. He shot towards them with a kunai in his hand. Time, they heard. Minato face palmed at his lazy student. Looks like you pass, he said. Next, Team Kurenai from Whirlpool v Baki from Suna, the Chunin called out. Ryu, Po, and Kai calmly walked into the arena and waited to begin. Baki joined them. I hope you don't think I'm going to be as easy as the last Chunin, he said. We wouldn't expect you to, Po said. Begin, they was told. The three genins blew up in a puff of smoke, surprising Baki for a second. The first to be seen through the smoke was Ryu. He was no longer dressed in a normal shinobi outfit, now he was wearing black pants with no shirt. He had on a black trench coat that had a strap across his chest and a large sword on his back that was as long as he was tall. Po was the next to be seen and he was wearing clothes similar to Ryu's, except he didn't have the strap across his chest for a sword and his clothes was all white. He also had a spear leaning against him. He stood there with his hands in his pockets. The last to be seen was a sleeping Kai. His outfit was the same as Po's except in blue. Next to him was a katana that was in its sheath. Po sighed as he kicked his younger brother. Wake up, idiot, now is not the time to be sleeping, he said. Po, if you kick me one more time I'm going to kill you, Kai said. Like you could, Po said. Enough you two, our opponent is waiting, the oldest triplet said. Kai vanished from where he was and bringing his katana down on Baki. The Chunin expected the sudden attack and easily blocked it. He didn't expect the genin to be so random with his attacks. Kai went back on the attack, not giving the Chunin a chance to make a move. Baki blocked, ducked, parried, and dodged all the attacks with little trouble. As Kai slashed his katana at him, Baki ducked under the attack and kicked Kai in the stomach. He then proceeded to punch him in the face, sending him flying back. He jumped after him, but was cut off by another weapon attacking him. Po appeared in front of his brother with his spear at Baki's neck. Ryu appeared behind him to catch his littlest brother. It's been 2 minutes, my turn to fight, Po said. Ryu jumped back with Kai. You okay? He asked. Yay, unlike Sensei, he doesn't pull his punches, Kai said. Po attacked with his spear, keeping the Chunin away from him. Baki ducked and dodged the spear, waiting for an opening. Baki found his opening off a small mistake that Po made of overextending himself on an attack. Anyone but a Chunin wouldn't have seen it. Too bad for Po, he was a Chunin and went on the attack. He appeared behind Po and sent him flying to the other side of the arena. He then attacked, landing rapid punches to the genin. Kai gripped his katana and looked at his oldest brother, who shook his head, telling him it was still too early. It was obvious that Kai wouldn't be able to stay still much longer. Ryu just hoped Po could last another 30 seconds. Baki ducked under a swing of Po's spear and kicked him into the air. Kai now! Ryu yelled, and the two brothers took off towards the Chunin. Kai appeared in front Po with his katana headed for Baki, who blocked the sudden attack with a kunai. Big mistake, Kai said, and his body was covered by lighting as it went through his katana, shocking Baki. Ryu came down where Baki was with his sword in his right hand. It went straight through Baki and cracked the arena. Baki blew up in a puff of smoke and a log was in his place. You three are good, I'll give you that, Baki said from the other side of the arena. Forcing a Chunin to use a jutsu is something. Your sensei must be proud, he added. Ryu attacked with his sword in his right hand. His attacks was powerful, very powerful compared to his brothers, and they was fast considering the size of the sword. Baki just dodged and waited for his time to attack. Once he saw an opening, he was attacked from behind. He rolled to the side and blocked the katana from Kai that came from behind him. You decided to attack at the same time, he asked. We have 2 minutes, our best chance now is a group attack, Po said. You have shown me enough that I want to see how you fare against my genins. I forfeit, Baki said. Oh come on, we was just getting started, Kai said. Tell me, are you 3 related? Baki asked. We are triplets, I'm the oldest, Kai is the youngest, Ryu said. I see, your attacks are that of someone who was trained by the same person, Baki said, then walked away. Po grabbed his side. That kick still hurts, I think it broke one of my ribs, he said in pain. 2 for 2 inches, Minato said. Of course, I knew my genins would pass, what about yours? Kushina said. Kurenai appeared next to her genins. Po, are you okay? She asked. I think I have a broken rib, Po said. Come on, I'll take you up to Tsunade, Kurenai said as she put her hand on Po's and Ryu's shoulder and Kai grabbed her arm. She then vanished with them in a swirl of flower petals. Up next will be Team Kakashi of Konaha v Anko of Whirlpool, the Chunin said. Don't kill them, Kurenai said. I wouldn't do that. I'm just going to force them to show how skilled they really are, Anko said. The 4 jumped into the arena. Begin, the Chunin said. Anko didn't waste any time as she threw 3 kunais at the genins and immediately created 3 cage bushins and went on the attack. Anko kicked Sasuke into the air, who flipped righting himself, then went through some hand signs. Kaden. Dragon Fire no Jutsu, he called out. Sweden. Water Dragon Whip, Anko called out, destroying the fire dragon and colliding with Sasuke. Anko and Tasuki was in a heated taijutsu match. Tasuki swung at Anko, who ducked and kicked the genin in the stomach. Tasuki rebounded and sent a kunai at Anko. The Chunin caught the kunai and sent it back at her. Anko sent Tasuki flying back again before the genin tossed a barrage of kunais at her, making her halt her attack. Tasuki knew they had only a few minutes left, then vanished in a streak of blonde and stabbed a surprised Anko with a kunai. Once Anko was destroyed, the other Ankos looked over in surprise, giving both Sasuke and Sakura a chance to destroy the clones. The real Anko clapped from her spot in the shade. Nice job. And able to use the Hiraishin is really impressive, she said. The 3 got into their stance. No need for that. I just wanted to see your abilities and I have done that. I want to see you against my genins, she said and jumped up into the stands. Of the 20 teams that started the test, only 6 teams passed. From Konaha Team Kakashi and Team Guy, from Kiri Team Mei, Team Baki from Suna, and from Whirlpool Team Anko and Team Kurenai. The Chunin stood in front of them. Okay everyone, congratulations on passing. Now everyone pull a number, the Chunin said. 1 ninja from Kiri said. 14, the second said. 10, the final Kiri ninja said. 16, Sasuke said. 3, Tasuki said. 12, Sakura said. 11, Tenten said. 2, Lee said. 18, Neji said. 4, Naruto said. 17, Hinata said. 15, Kiki said. 5, Ryu called. 9, Kai said. 7, Po said. 13, Gaara said. 6, Tamari said. 8, Kankuru said. Good, now this is how the matches will be, the Chunin said after he finished writing down the names. 1v2, 3 version 4, 5 version 6, 7v8, 9v10, 11 version 12, 13v14, 15v16, 17v18. You have a month to get ready for your match. Train well, he said. Well, let's get training. I have 1 month to make you stronger, Anko said once they reached her. Actually Anko, I'm going to train Naruto. There is some things I want to teach him, Kushina said. And I have some things to teach Hinata, Irie said. What, both of them? Anko complained. Don't worry, they are still your genins. It's just some family things I got to teach Naruto. Stuff you can't, Kushina explained. I guess you have some things related to the Byakugan to teach Hinata, Anko asked Irie. Yay, sorry, Irie said. Anko sighed. Come on Kiki, at least I can give you my full attention, she said. Don't worry Anko, remember last exams. I got all 3 of my genins took away by their parents for training, Kurenai said. Kushina grabbed Naruto and vanished via Shunshin. They appeared in a secluded opening outside the village. Okay Ruto-chan, the first thing I want you to do is sign my contract. It's a family contract for the Ukami, she said. Cool, Naruto said with joy. Kushina did the required hand signs then bit her thumb. She slammed her hand on the ground and a giant seal appeared under her hand. There was a puff of smoke and an ukami the size of Naruto appeared. The ukami was light blue in color and held a large scroll on its back. The ukami grabbed the scroll with its snout and sat it in front of the two Uzumakis and it unrolled. Sign it with your blood then press your fingers to it so they know who summoned them, Kushina instructed. A month later, most of the genins who was in the third round was in the stadium waiting for the matches to begin. Hinata and Kiki stood next to each other with smiles on their faces waiting to begin. A Junin walked into the stadium. Hello and thank you for attending the Chunin exams, I'm Genma and I will be watching over the final part of the exams. Now can everyone but numbers 1 and 2 leave the stadium and go to the waiting area, he said. He watched as everyone left the stadium. Now the first match Haku of Kiri versus Lee of Konaha begin, he said as he jumped out the way. Kiki and Hinata walked into the waiting area and stood near the back leaning against the wall quietly talking to themselves. They felt someone coming up to them and looked at the person. Can we help you? Kiki asked. Where is your teammate? The Kunoichi asked. The two shrugged. No clue, Hinata said. You're not nervous that he won't make it for his fight? The Kunoichi asked. No, he will be here, Kiki said. How can you be sure? The Kunoichi asked. The two smiled. He has a habit of being late, plus he wouldn't miss this for the world, Hinata said. In the stadium Lee was looking at his opponent. I hope our match shows the youthfulness we both have, he yelled. What? Haku asked confused. Our passion for battle will not be challenged. Let's give the people what they came to see, Lee said then charged WT him. Haku just stared at him. Weird kid. He said to himself then pulled his katana out of its sheath from his back. Let's see what Konaha nins can do, he said and charged at Lee. Lee took out a kunai and blocked the strikes from Haku. Everyone watched in amazement as the two fought to get the edge over their opponent. Lee kicked Haku away from him. You're a most excellent opponent, he said. The same could be said about you, Haku said. Thank you, but I'm going to have to get serious, Lee said as he pulled something off his wrists and dropped them making a dent in the ground. Haku looked at them wide-eyed. You fight with those things on? He asked. Well, I can't use chakra so I use them to give me an advantage, Lee said as he took his weights off his legs. I see, Haku said. Ready? Lee said then vanished kicking Haku into the air. Haku landed on the ground hard. He coughed up blood as he slowly got to his knees. He saw Lee start running at him again. I don't think so, he said as he forced his katana into the ground then went through some HND signs. Hyouten. Ice missiles he called out. All around him ice senbons formed from the air and shot at Lee. Taken by surprise Lee couldn't dodge them. Hyouten. Ice dragon of the North Mountain Haku called out and the dragon hit Lee dead on knocking him unconscious. Genma came down to the stadium. Winner Haku of Kiri, can numbers 2 and 3 come down, he asked. Tasuki shunshined down and waited. After a few minutes Genma sighed and was about to start talking. Wait, don't disqualify him yet, Tasuki said surprising him. Sorry Tasuki but rules are rules, Genma said. Either wait a few more minutes or I quit the exams, Tasuki said. Genma sighed. Fine, I'll give him 2 more minutes, he said. There was a bunch of boos at the extra time. 90 seconds later the wind picked up and leaves started to fall. Slowly 2 figures appeared in the middle of it all spinning until they came to a complete stop. Sorry, we overslept, the redhead Kunoichi said with a huge smile while having one hand behind her head. Everyone looked at them for a minute. Took him long enough, Kiki said. Yay, Hinata said. Well, if you will excuse us, the second match between Tasuki of Konaha and Naruto of Whirlpool will begin now, Genma said. Good luck son, Kushina said as she put her cage hat on and jumped up to the cage's box to join the other 5 cages. You're still late as always, Minato said as soon as she entered the box. Will you be quiet, we are trying to watch the fight, Kushina said without looking at him. Tasuki watched as Kushina jumped up to the cage's box then looked back at Naruto. He is ignoring me, she thought. She then vanished and appeared next to him with a ball of chakra in her hand. Rasengan she said and pushed it into his stomach getting a surprised look from him. He then blow up in a puff of smoke and kneed her in the stomach. I won't be caught off guard that easy, he said from her other side. Tasuki then went puff and a branch was in her place. Neither will I, she said from behind him. Tasuki kicked him in the back of the head only for him to puff away, revealing a clone, again. Naruto punched her in the side of the face only for her to turn into a log, again. Naruto glared at her in frustration as she did the same to him. "This is getting us nowhere," he yelled. "I agree, we could keep this up all day and no one would get an advantage," Tasuki said. "You must be a Kawarimi master to use it in such a small amount of time like you have been," Naruto said. "The same about you and your clones," Tasuki said. "It's been a while since I had this much fun fighting an opponent," Naruto admitted. "Well, let's not end our fun here," Tasuki said. "Well, let's." He was cut off by getting hit in the back by a jutsu. He looked surprised before he turned in log. "You almost got me that time. I didn't know you knew Shadow Clone," Naruto said from the other side of the stadium. "I don't know what gave you the impression that I didn't know it. Just because I prefer Kawarimi doesn't mean I don't know Shadow Clone. It was your doubting my jutsu knowledge that gave me an advantage," Tasuki said. "You're right, and I won't underestimate you again," Naruto said. "Good, because next time you won't have enough time to escape," Tasuki said, pulling out 2 kunais. And threw them at Naruto. Naruto pulled his own kunais out and threw them at her. The two then flashed through some hand signs. "Fuuten. Eternal Wind Dragon," Naruto called. "Raiden. Dragon of the Sky," Tasuki yelled. The 2 dragons flew at each other full speed, meeting in a collision of power. The result was an explosion so loud and bright that everyone watching had to cover their ears and close their eyes so they wasn't blinded by it. When it was safe to look, everyone saw the 2 genins flying through the air and each hit the wall on either side of the stadium at the same time. They then fell face first onto the ground, not moving. Genma jumped and looked at both. Since neither shows signs of getting up, this match ends in a. He was cut off. "No, I can still fight," he heard. He looked at who said that and was surprised to see Tasuki slowly getting to her knees. "I'm not done, don't stop the match," she said. "Maybe, but your opponent isn't moving," Genma said. "He will, just go back up to your seat and watch," Tasuki said. "Oh, and how can you be so sure?" Genma asked. "He is my brother, I can feel it. He will get up," Tasuki said, finally getting to her feet. Slowly Naruto started to move. "See, told you he will get up," Tasuki said. Naruto finally made it to his feet. "I'm not done yet, I still have plenty of tricks up my sleeve," he said. Tasuki smiled. "Let's finish this, brother," she said. As soon as the 2 siblings reached each other, they exchanged taijutsu at a high speed. They jumped back and prepared for their next attack. Naruto went into his pack and hit a small container as he attacked. Tasuki charged up a Rasengan and got ready to smash it in Naruto's stomach. Naruto's hand flashed in front of her face as he dove to the side to avoid the jutsu. Tasuki stopped as she sneezed and wobbled. "What did you do?" she asked. "Sleeping powder," he answered as she fell. "Clever," Anko stated. "That's our brother for you," Kurenai said. Atsui walked into the nurse's room where Tasuki was and leaned against the door. "You lost," she said. "I know, he is better than you give him credit for," Tasuki said. "You didn't fight to your potential," Atsui said. "I fought hard and he used a sleeping powder on me," Tasuki retorted. "You could have easily used Hiraishin and got the advantage," Atsui said. "And what would that have proved? I want to prove to myself that I can win without using it. Besides, Dad said it's not something to use in a one-on-one fight because of the chakra it consumes," Tasuki said. "Next time you better win," Atsui said and walked out. Tasuki just blinked at where she stood in confusion. Ryu and Temari stood in the stadium facing each other as the crowd watched. Ryu waited for her to make a move, as she looked him over and formed a plan in her head. Temari jumped into the air. "Fuuten. Great breakthrough," she called out, waving her fan at Ryu. Ryu flashed through some hand signs. "Kaden. Great fireball," he countered as his jutsu powered through Temari's, picking up power from the wind. "Shit," Temari said as she summoned as much chakra as she could. "Fuuten. Great cutting whirlwind," she called out. The jutsu was powerful enough to cut through the fire jutsu Ryu sent towards her. She landed on the ground breathing hard. "You're a Kaden user?" she asked. "Yup. I'm your weakness, so your jutsus won't work against me," Ryu said. "Damn it," Temari mumbled as she started to form a plan. "Don't think I'm going to give you a chance to work up another plan," Ryu said as he charged with his sword. Temari used her fan to block the strikes from Ryu's sword as they came. She knew from what her sensei said that he was powerful, but not this powerful. If he kept this up, she wouldn't be able to fight back. As he came in for another strike, she jumped back. As he came towards her, she continued to jump back and dodge his strikes. As she looked around for another plan, she noticed that Ryu was looking frustrated by her tactic and a smirk formed on her face. "You're a straightforward fighter, am I correct?" she asked. "What does that have to do with anything?" he asked as he swung at her again. "Everything." Tamari jumped and bounced off the wall and landed on the other side of him. "If I'm correct, you get frustrated if your opponent chooses to fight you from a distance rather than face your superior strength, which if I'm correct is your biggest advantage." She finished. "Stop talking and fight," Ryu growled out. "I am fighting. Unlike you, my best skill is the ability to come up with plans during combat and use my opponent's weakness against them." She ducked under his strike and rolled away. "Which is exactly what I'm doing." She finished as she swung her fan at his now open back. Kurenai watched the fight impressed. "Not many people can get him this frustrated," she said. "Looks like we are going to be 1-1 in these exams so far," Anko said. "Don't count him out just yet," Kurenai said. "I'm not, but he is letting her get to him. She is forcing doubt into him. She has won already," Anko said. Tamari followed her attack with another quick one and flashed through some hand signs. "Fugen. Great cutting whirlwind," she said, sending the jutsu into his back. "Your Kaden element is useless if you can't use it," she said. Ryu struggled to his feet. "I admit you're a worth opponent, but I'm not done yet," he said. "Well, let's finish this," Tamari said as she slid back into her defense. Instead of attacking like he normally would, Ryu sat back and through his options. "If I continue to try and make this a taijutsu match, I will lose, so I have to change my tactic," he said. "So you're admitting that you can't beat me without using ninjutsu?" Tamari asked. "Kaden. Great dragon fire technique," he called out. The jutsu shot out with more chakra in it than Tamari thought was necessary. At the last minute, Tamari vanished, leaving her fan behind since she was faster without it. "Fugen. Sword of Wind. Fugen. Windcutter," she said from behind Ryu. Ryu turned in surprise as Tamari unleashed her attack with the wind sword, slicing him 50 times across his back. He flew away from her as she finished and fell on the ground unmoving. Tamari dropped to one knee as she watched Ryu to see if he got up or not. She just hoped she didn't kill him. Kurenai looked on in utter amazement. "She won?" she asked. "Told you, she won the minute he decided to change his tactic against her," Anko said. Po and Kai appeared next to their brother and each grabbed his arm and lifted him up. "You're good," Kai told Tamari. "Yay, not too many people can beat him that easily," Po said. "Hey, easy, that was the hardest fight of my life. Tell him thanks for challenging me in ways I was never challenged before," Tamari huffed out. "We will," Po said as they walked past her with Ryu. Tsunade met them in one of the medic rooms. "Lay him face down on the bed," she told them. "Will he be okay?" Po asked. "Yes, the wounds are not life-threatening, but the loss of blood is, so if you will leave me I'll get to work," Tsunade said. "Right, it's my turn to fight anyway," Po said and ran out. Po ran into the stadium with his spear in hand. "Sorry," he said as he got into position. "Don't worry, I'm in no rush to beat you," Kankuru said. "Don't underestimate me," Po said. Kankuru smirked and pulled out his puppets. "Prepare to lose just like your brother did," he said. Po blinked. "Dolls?" he asked. "You plan on fighting with dolls? How is that even possible that you are not embarrassed to be carrying around dolls?" He finished more calm after getting over his shock. "They are not dolls, they are puppets," Kankuru yelled back. "And you're wearing makeup, are you a cross-dresser or something?" Po asked. "It's war paint," Kankuru yelled as he sent his puppet to attack Po. Po used his spear to keep them back. "Too bad for you. I'm a long-distance fighter. If it was Kai or Ryu you was facing, I'll give you a chance, but it's not," he said. Kankuru just growled as he sent his puppets back at him. Po jumped at them and swung his spear across the midsection of the puppets, breaking them in half. Kankuru smirked as gas started to come out of them. "You may have broke my puppets, but with this poisonous gas you're done for," he said. "Shit," Po said as he started to spin his spear, creating a giant tornado from it. "Fugen. Attacking tornado spear," he said and extended his spear towards Kankuru, who looked shocked as he was stabbed in the stomach by the spear. "You was too cocky. Now I do hope you have an anti-poison," he said. Kankuru dropped to one knee coughing up blood. "You bastard," he said as he collapsed. Po put his spear in the ground and rested against it and coughed up some blood. "Damn, the poison still got me," he said. Kai came to the stadium and went to his brother. Can you make it back? He asked. Yes, just a little poison, you have more important things to worry about. Po said as a Kiri nin walked into the stadium. So far Whirlpool is 2-1 in these exams. Congratulations, the nin said nicely. Thanks, Kiri is 1-0 so far. Kai said smiling. Yes we are, now let's begin, the nin said. I'm Kai by the way, he said. Chaojuoro, he replied and attacked with his swords. Kai flipped back and took out his katana. He attacked with his weapon blocking one of Chaojuoro's swords with his sheath while he tried to stab him with his katana. The two circled each other while doing a complex dance of strikes with their weapons. Kai jumped back just as Chaojuoro lunged forward and the result was Chaojuoro's sword was stuck in Kai's leg. Kai screamed out in pain as Chaojuoro went in for the finishing blow. At the last minute Kai brought his katana up to block the Other sword and grabbed Chaojuoro's arm. Raiden. Lighting current he said sending his element through the Kiri nin. Chaojuoro fell back unconscious while Kai forced the sword out of his leg and dropped it next to the Kiri nin. His Chunin appeared next to him. You fought well, he is the best swordsman his age in Kiri and for you to best him says a lot about you. Continue to build your craft because he will look at you as his rival because of your victory. She said and picked him up with his two swords and walked away. Looks like you picked up a rival from another village. Kurenai said as she caught him before he fell. Kai smiled, I'm just so awesome. He said making Kurenai laugh. Sakura and Tenten stood facing each other as they got ready for their match. Finally my turn, Tenten said. Prepare to lose, Sakura said. Tenten smirked and immediately jumped into the air. Secret art. Raising dragon she called out and two scrolls appeared next to her and she immediately started to throw the weapons in them down at Sakura not giving her a chance to dodge. Once she finished Sakura was pinned to the ground with multiple weapons holding her in place. Looks like I win, Tenten said. The last Kiri nin was walking out to the stadium until he was stopped. Kimimaro be careful, something is off about his chakra, Haku said. I know, Kimimaro said and continued to walk out. Kimimaro stood across Gaara as some sand dust blew between the two. As it passed them it whipped back at Kimimaro as he jumped back then into the air just in time to avoid being swallowed by the hole that just opened in the ground. Kimimaro worked his way closer to Gaara as he dodged the sand and sent a punch at his face that was blocked by his sand shield. A sand spike came out the shield almost stabbing Kimimaro in the face as he barely ducked under it. Kimimaro jumped and pulled out a bone katana and came down on Gaara slicing him in half. Gaara fell into sand as he once again attacked Kimimaro while his back was turned. Kimimaro quickly sliced the sand in half. He then ran at Gaara as Gaara created a sand spear and ran at him. The two exchanged hits until Kimimaro kicked Gaara into the air. Sand shower Gaara said using his airborne state as an advantage. A sand cloud started to form above Kimimaro and sand fell out of it towards Kimimaro. Once it stopped Kimimaro was covered in sand but otherwise unharmed. Desert coffin Gaara said forming a coffin of sand around Kimimaro. Desert funeral he finished as the sand pulled Kimimaro underground and hardened. Gaara turned and started to walk back towards the waiting area until he felt something in the sand. He turned wide-eyed as the ground started to crack. Desert floating sand he said as he was quickly lifted off the ground just as the entire stadium floor was filled with 10 feet bone spears. Kimimaro came out with what looked like multiple spears wrapped around his right arm and stabbed Gaara in the chest with it. Gaara was wide-eyed as he fell to his knees as blood poured out the hole in his chest. Kimimaro caught him before he fell off the sand onto the spears. As Kimimaro descended the spears descended back into the ground. He walked towards the door as a team of medics came rushing out with a gurney for Gaara. Shizune ran into the room that Gaara was in. Where is Tsunade? One of the medics asked. Still removing the poison from Konkaru and Po. I'm in charge of this one. How bad is he? Shizune asked taking charge. The attack missed his heart, but the hole in his chest won't stop bleeding, a medic said. Okay. I'm going to preform the healing resuscitation regeneration jutsu, Shizune said as she started to pull some strings of hair off Gaara. Kimimaro walked past Tamari and stopped. I didn't kill him, he said hesitantly and started to walk again. How did you survive? Tamari asked. Kimimaro stopped again. I was able to put up my own version of a defense shield. It uses my bones that is impossible to break. he said. Oh, was all Tamari said. Kiki stood in the stadium waiting for Sasuke to arrive. Where the hell is the Uchiha? She asked. I have no clue, Genma said as he looked up at the Hokage. We will give him 4 minutes to arrive, he said. What, why 4 minutes and not 2 inches? Kiki asked. That's what I was told to give him, Genma said. Where is your precious Genin? Kushina asked. Like you're one to talk, your Genin was late for his match. Minato responded. His match was the second one. The Uchiha is over 2 hours late, this is unacceptable. Kushina said. What, afraid that Kiki will lose? Minato asked. If that's how you feel, why not move their match until after the next one to give him more time to prepare for being beaten? Kushina asked. Fine, Minato said. The cages have agreed to move this match until the last one. Can Hinata of Whirlpool and Neji of Konaha come down? Genma said. The two stood across from each other not moving. What's wrong, why haven't you moved? Hinata asked with a smirk. I'm waiting on you to move. Neji replied. Oh, so all that talk you did before the exams about how you were going to beat me was just talk? Hinata taunted. Neji stood there calmly. You can't taunt me into attacking, he said. Hinata shrugged. Fine, she said and sped towards him. Neji flipped back as she brought her fist down where he was. Chakra arm, Hinata said as red chakra extended from her arm and grabbed Neji by the leg and pulled him closer to her where she punched him with her other hand. Sorry, getting away from me isn't that easy, she said. Everyone in the stands looked in shock as they saw the red chakra. Hinata jumped after Neji as he was sent flying back. You know, if you don't fight back I'm going to kill you, she said as she aimed a punch towards his face that sent him crashing into the ground. Neji slowly stood up and wiped the blood off his face and got in his Jukin stance. Hinata looked at him with a curious look on her face. She then vanished and aimed a kick at his head which he ducked and pressed a few chakra points on her open leg. Hinata jumped back with a frown on her face as she forced it back open with Kyuubi's chakra. She huffed in annoyance as she threw a few senbons at him. Neji waited until they got close. Kaden, he called out. He stopped and looked at Hinata. You surprised me with that extra chakra, but the surprise is gone, your chance of winning left with it, he said. Hinata looked at him lazily. I want to try a new technique I've been learning out on you. I'm sure you saw it before but my brother and sister didn't, she said and slid into the Jukin stance her mother taught her. Neji raised an eyebrow. Jukin, you're going to try and match my Jukin? You're not serious, are you? He asked. Oh, I'm not going to match you. I'm going to kick your Hyuga ass all over this stadium, Hinata said with a cocky grin. Neji narrowed his eyes at her and attacked. Hinata smiled her cocky kitsune grin as she ducked his attack and launched her own attack, which she blocked or ducked under. The two blocked and countered each other's Jukin until they jumped back. What happened to you kicking my ass across this stadium? Neji asked. Oh, I'm just getting started, Hinata said as she attacked him again with even greater speed. Neji blocked and ducked most of her attacks until he was kicked in the face, sending him across the stadium. She sped until she was behind him and aimed a well-placed foot in his ass, sending him back across the stadium. She gave her cocky kitsune grin again. Told you I would kick your ass across the stadium, she said with humor in her voice. Neji just stared at her. You are an idiot, he said. Guess what? I know a lot of ninjutsu also, Hinata said as she kicked him in the back. Never take your eyes off your opponent. It will create an opening for a clone to be made, she said. Neji stood up and looked at the two. I see you can't fight one-on-one, he said. Hinata blanked at him. You do realize that you only hit me like 3 times this entire match, she asked. You do realize you're in my range? Neji asked with a smirk. Hake Rokujuinsho, he called out and attacked the one on the left since the one on the right was a clone. Hinata flew back after her chakra points was closed and Neji looked down on her. You're no match for a true Hyuga. You're just a sad copy of one. He then walked away. Everyone watched as Neji walked away confident that he won and thought he did until Hinata slowly started to get up. Don't turn your back on me, she said on her hands and knees looking at the ground, breathing hard. Neji stopped and glanced back. You're not worth my time, he said and started walking away again. I said don't turn your back on me, Hinata repeated. Just lie down and die, Neji said, still not looking at her. Hinata exploded with chakra. Don't turn your back on me, damn it. I'm not through with you, she yelled as Kyuubi's chakra flowed through her. Sweden. Water whip, she said, and a whip of water appeared in her left hand which she used to wrap around Neji's neck and yanked him back to her. Raiden. Hiraishin, she finished, and her lighting element coursed through her body until it formed a glove of lighting on her right hand. She then forced it into Neji's body. Neji screamed out in pain as the jutsu hit him, with Hinata having no reason to stop. Hinata, Irie yelled after a minute of this. The girl looked up at her mother with red eyes and black slits before she dropped him. "I'm done with you," she said, and started to walk away. Her Suiden and Raiden elements still flowing freely from her hands. As Hinata approached the door, she was stopped. "You bitch, get back here," she heard. Glancing over her shoulder, she saw Neji trying to get to his feet. "Stay down or I will kill you," she said in a demonic voice. "Don't talk down to me, you Hyuga reject. Your mother is a Hyuga reject, your entire family is a bunch of rejects," he said as he coughed up blood, barely able to get to his knees. Hinata vanished and appeared in front of him. A chakra tail shot out and grabbed him around the neck, holding him in the air. She pulled her right hand back and shot it at Neji, stopping just before she tore through his stomach. "If I'm a reject, then live with the knowledge of being beaten and humiliated by a reject," she said, then dropped him. "You're not worth me even acknowledging," she said as she walked away. Everyone looked at the display with silence. None of them would have let him survive after what he said and the fact that Hinata gave her respect from them, except those from Konaha. They was pissed that she beat him with what looked like little effort. Even before she used Kyuubi, she was in control of the fight. Before Hinata reached the door, leaves started to fall. She looked back and saw two figures appear in the stadium. "Sorry, are we late?" the older one asked. "What happened?" the younger one asked. "I happened," Hinata said as she glared at him. Kiki dropped next to Hinata. "This one is mine, go relax. I know it takes a lot of chakra to open your chakra points back up, even for you," she said. "Kick his ass," Hinata said. "Oh, I plan to," Kiki said as she walked towards him. "Is someone going to move the trash out the way?" she asked, pointing to Neji. Sasuke glared at Kiki with his Sharingan as he got into his stance. Kiki matched his glare with her own glare. She had shoulder green hair, she had piercing bright red eyes. She was wearing a white sleeveless shirt that connected behind her neck. The back of the shirt was open. She had sleeves up to her, stopped 6 inches from her shoulder. On the right sleeve at the top was her Whirlpool Hide 8. She wore a white skirt that stopped at her knees. She had black shoes with white shin bracers over them. She also wore a black trench coat that hung tight around her waist. Under her clothes was black fishnet to contrast against her white. Her skin was nicely tanned light brown. She moved her hair out of her eyes. "You said I was useless after the first test ended. Let me show you how useless I really am." She then vanished and kicked him across the stadium. "You should know, I'm the fastest genin here. Even with your Sharingan you have no chance of keeping up with me," she said as she walked towards him. "All things can be conquered by the Sharingan," Sasuke said. Kiki pulled out a Senbon. "Really, and if I slowly pry out your Sharingan, then what?" she asked as she flicked her wrist at him, letting the Senbon fly. Sasuke barely rolled out the way. "Kaden, great fireball," he said. Kiki rolled her eyes and sidestepped the jutsu. "Honestly, what part of, you can't touch me, did you not get? That includes your jutsus?" she asked. "Impossible," Sasuke said. "Nothing's impossible for a Whirlpool Kunoichi," she said. "Doden. Earth Spike," she said. Sasuke jumped out the way. "You're a Doden user?" he asked. "Sweden. Vortex," she said. "In a sense I am," she said, then vanished after he dodged the jutsu again. She kicked him in the head and sent him flying. "Honestly, is this all the Sharingan has to offer? If you ask me, it's not worth the trouble of finding a competent Uchiha. I mean, really, you're making all Uchihas look bad just like the Hyuga made the Byakugan look bad," she said. Sasuke glared at her. "You will pay for that comment," he said. "You bore me," she said, and vanished. "Train more, then maybe you can challenge me," she said from behind me, and punched him in the back of the neck, knocking him out. She sighed as she looked at him fall. "Are everyone in this village all talk? So far I only saw 3 shinobis worth fighting and 2 of them was beat. Even if barely," she asked out loud. "Don't get so cocky, he was only a glimpse of what a true Uchiha could do," an Uchiha said as he glared at her with his Sharingan. "Oh, so you can give me more of a challenge?" Kiki asked with a smirk. "After all, I'm sure the Uchiha prodigy Itachi could handle the lowly Sokudo," she taunted. "The clan of speed, so some of you did survive," Itachi said. "Careless Uchihas as always, never checking their work," Kiki said, shrugging her shoulders, dismissing him. "Why don't you leave my student alone before I kill you?" Anko said as she appeared next to Kiki. Itachi looked at her. You should teach her to watch her tongue, he said. Why would I teach something as stupid as watching her tongue? She then smirked. Only an Uchiha would want to do something like that, she added. Do you want to make me mad? Itachi asked. Anko tilted her head to the side. Are you afraid of getting embarrassed by a kunoichi? She retorted. Before Itachi could say something, part of the stadium was blown up and multiple Uchihas ran into the stadium. Itachi, get Sasuke out of here then return. We are taking over, the leader said. Yes father, Itachi said. Silly power-hungry Uchihas, Anko said before he was out of earshot. Itachi arrived back at the stadium and found Minato as he knocked an Uchiha unconscious. What's the meaning of this, Itachi? The blonde Hokage asked. Remember the report of a group of Uchihas planning something? This was their plan, to take control of the village. Itachi told the Hokage. Where do your loyalties lie? Minato asked. I'm here talking to you now, so that should be enough to tell you what side I'm on. The Sharingan wielder told him. A shinobi appeared. Minato sensei, the Uchihas has started to attack the civilians and visitors. He said. Kakashi, Itachi, let's end this now. Minato said as he pulled out his special kunai. Itachi activated his Sharingan while Kakashi moved his Hite 8 up, showing his Sharingan. Fugaku watched in horror as the three systematically killed or knocked the Uchihas he sent to attack the civilians and visitors unconscious. He stood with his most trustworthy Uchihas, Shisui, Yashira, Tekka, and Anabi, all members of the Uchiha police force. With the rest of the village Junins taking out the rest of his small army, Fugaku devised a plan to take out the Hokage and led the four towards the middle of the stadium where the Hokage had just appeared. Kushina stopped noticing that Naruto wasn't with them. She quickly changed her direction and frantically looked for her son before finding him sitting on top of the stadium watching the fighting. Ruto-chan, what are you doing? She asked. Naruto pointed. I want to see what makes him so special. He told her, pointing to Minato as he started to fight with Fugaku. The others landed by them, so I guess we are not leaving yet? Anko asked. Not yet, let's watch how this lay out. Kushina said, no helping them, this is their problem, not ours. She quickly added. A little while later, Minato looked at the lifeless body of Fugaku. He then looked around and found that Itachi had also killed Shisui and Kakashi had killed his three opponents. He nodded to them and the two vanished, finishing off most of the rogue Uchihas. Minato himself looked over the area for his daughter. Everyone stopped moving. They heard. Everyone stopped and looked up to see who was talking. On top of the stadium was an old man with bandages all over his body, and he was holding a small blonde girl in one hand and a tanto in the other pressed against her neck. Danzo, release my daughter now. Minato demanded. You're in no position to make demands. You can't suggest I do something and I will go with it like Hiruzen did, sealing Kyuubi away. Danzo said, his voice full of confidence. What do you want? Minato asked. It's quite simple. Hand control of the village over to the Uchihas. Danzo demanded. Naruto looked at what was happening before glancing at everyone else to see that they was also focused on what was happening. He quickly created a clone and slipped away while it stayed back in his spot. Quickly he made his way across the stadium without being seen. When he was within, he made the mistake of slipping on some rocks. Danzo looked over in surprise. Naruto. Kushina yelled as she saw him at the same time. While that was happening, Tsuki elbowed Danzo as Naruto ran full speed and kicked him in the face, jerking his head back and forcing him to release her. As soon as his head jerked back, Minato was on him with his kunai at his neck. Die. He said as cold blue eyes stared deadly into the old mont's eye. Kushina walked up to Naruto fully prepared on giving him a talk about getting into other people's business. Before she could say anything, Naruto beat her to it. Sorry, I know you said just watch, but she is my sister and I have to protect her even if her father is a selfish bastard. He said. Kushina took a deep breath to calm her nerves. I completely understand why you did and would be even angrier at you if you didn't try and help her. But next time tell me before you pull a stunt like that. She told her son, pulling him into a hug. Minato looked at Danzo as his lifeless body fell off the stadium. He then pulled Tsuki into a hug before standing up and finally looking at the blonde kid who had the honor of being his firstborn. He was currently hugging his mother. Clearing his throat, he got their attention. Sorry to interrupt, but I believe a few words are in order. He said slowly as if debating what exactly to say. Kushina stood up. Better make it quick before your wife gets up here. she said, holding back her growing need to punch him in the face. Her thinking was that maybe, just maybe he would be willing to be the father that Naruto needed, even if she didn't want him to be. Minato saw a younger version of himself while looking at Naruto, except he had red hair. The determination in his eyes was the same determination he had at that age. You need to teach him to stay in his place, was all he said before turning and walking away. Let's go to Suki, he said. Kushina looked at his retreating form in shock, although not shocked that he didn't want anything to do with Naruto, but the fact that he would say something like that in his own son's face. She now was really struggling not to attack him. Well, the least you can do is thank him for saving your daughter's life, she said. She knew it was wishful thinking that he would man up. Minato stopped and glanced back. If he would have, then I would thank him, but since the one who got Danzo off my daughter was my daughter, I don't need to thank him, he said, and continued to walk away. Tsuki looked at her father, then her brother, then back at her father before running to Naruto. Thank you, brother, she whispered as she hugged him. Let's go, son. I can't be in this village any longer or I'm going to kill someone, Kushina said. As the two walked towards the rest of the group, Naruto thought of something. Do you regret it? He asked. Kushina, confused by the question, looked at him. Regret what? She asked. Being with him, he told her. Kushina stopped and bent down to his level. Listen to me carefully, Naruto. What happened in my past is just that, the past. I was engaged to him because it would help our village rebuild quicker and strengthen our Uzu relationship with Konaha. So no, I don't regret that. The time I spent here in Konaha was some of the best times of my younger life. I met my best friends here and was trained by Tsunade-sensei, became a Chunin sensei for Anko, Kurenai, and Itachi, 3 prodigies in their respective families, and was introduced to the best possible food ever to be made, ramen. So no, I don't regret none of that. But most important, if it wasn't for Uzu sending me here, then I would have never met Minato and you would never have been born. I would go through all that again just so I can see your face as I held you for the first time. Naruto, having you here with me every day is the greatest joy in the world, and I wouldn't give it up for anything, even if your father is the biggest ass ever, she finished while pulling him into a hug. Kushina looked up from her position and saw her ninjas looking at them. Did you hear all that? She asked. They smiled at her. Being a mother is the best feeling in the world and nothing can change that, Irie said. I'm hungry. The young Hyuga Jinchuriki told them all. Well, let's go visit Ichiraku Ramen one last time before we leave. It's on me, Kushina said. In hindsight, she realized that it is a very bad idea to offer to pay for a group of 7 ninjas food, especially when one of those ninjas has a demon in her and eats like no tomorrow, and 2 more eat like they had bottomless pits for stomachs. Irie knew what Kushina was getting into by offering to pay, but decided not to say anything to teach her a lesson. Never buy food for Hinata, Naruto, and Kushina at the same time. After everyone was full and Kushina's purse was noticeably lighter, they was at the main gate. Does everyone have everything? Kushina asked. We are all ready, Kurenai said. Was you really leaving without saying anything? They heard. Standing just outside of the gate was a Kunoichi. She was wearing a standard Uchiha ninja outfit with a Chunin vest over it. Her long black hair was pulled back behind her shoulders where it fell to her waist. She smiled brightly at the group. Kushi-chan, Irie-chan, how have I missed you, she said, pulling them into a hug. Makoto-chan, Miko-chan, the two said while returning the hug. After the 3 finished hugging, the Uchiha Chunin looked over at the rest of the group. Anko-chan, Kurenai-chan, I'm glad you both have decided to visit, she said with a bit of humor. Well, can't let my Genin team go to a village without being there, Anko said. Genin? Makoto looked at the children. Well, hello. I'm Makoto Uchiha, mother of Sasuke and Itachi Uchiha, and the teammate of Kushina and Irie. She introduced herself to her. After the Genins was introduced, Kushina turned to her old teammate. You know that idiot of yours just tried to take over the village, she said. Makoto sighed and shook her head. Again? She asked. Again? Irie asked in confusion. I'm glad Itachi has my talent and smarts, because that husband of mine is going to get himself killed if he isn't dead already. Every few months for a year he tries to overthrow Minato and take the position of Hokage for himself. Usually I am able to stop him, but I feared with my last mission he would take advantage of my absence and try a full-scale coup, so I ordered Itachi to keep a close eye on him and report everything to the Hokage, she explained. So it wouldn't be a surprise that your idiot is now dead? Kushina asked. No, not really, although I will say that I'm going to miss him, Makoto told them, well, we need to get going and I'm sure you need to make arrangements for a burial. Kushina said, yes I do, we need to get together soon and catch up. Makoto told them, we will even if I have to drag our childish teammate someplace close by. Irie told her, oh Irie-chan, you should know there is a group out attacking Jinchuriki. So far they managed to capture and defeat the six-tailed Jinchuriki. Makoto warned, thanks for telling me this. Irie said. 1 month later, walking up to the main entrance of Uzu was a tall man with long white spiky hair with 2 bangs reaching his shoulder framing his face. He also has red lines that run down from his eyes and is wearing a horned forehead protector with the kanji for oil. He is wearing a green short shirt kimono and matching pants, under which he wears mesh armor that shows out of the sleeves and legs of his outfit. His outfit is complete with handguards, a simple black belt, traditional Japanese wooden sandals, a red cloak with 2 simple yellow circles, and a toad contract summoning scroll on his back. Behind him was 2 kunoichis, both wearing a Konaha Hite 8, take your Hite 8 off. He instructed. Why? The blonde asked. Because Konaha ninjas are always or not allowed in without prior arrangements to be escorted by an ANBU or the Azukage. Jiraiya told them as they took their Hite 8 off. Can I help you Jiraiya-sama? The guard asked in respect. Yes, me and my apprentice and her friend are here to visit. Jiraiya said. Well hurry in, have a good visit. The guard said opening the gate. Can you tell me where my godson is? Jiraiya asked as he walked through the open gate. Knowing him, probably off pranking some poor person. The guard said while laughing. Jiraiya waved as the 3 walked through the gate. Tasuki and Tenten have a look around and meet me at the Azukage's building in an hour. He said and walked off. An hour later, Jiraiya was in the Azukage's building talking with Kushina when there was a knock on the door. Come in. Kushina said. The door opened to show Tenten and Tasuki both with bags in their hand. You bought that much stuff in the hour you was here? Jiraiya asked. Tasuki shrugged. Most of it is food that's specific to Uzu. She said. Welcome to Uzu Tasuki and Tenten. Kushina said. Thank you, it's a beautiful place. Tasuki said. Well now we are a little behind, so how long until Naruto and Hinata arrive so we can get going? Jiraiya asked. Arrow Senin. They heard as the door flew open and 2 blurs tackled the sage. Brats, didn't I tell you not to call me that? Jiraiya asked as he patted them on the head. Is Haim Sanin coming too? Hinata asked. Why don't you ask me that and not him? Someone asked from the door. Looking at the newcomer, Tasuki and Tenten both stared wide-eyed at her. Standing in front of them was Tsunade. They took in the appearance of their idol for the first time in their young lives. She has long blonde hair tied into 2 loose ponytails using purple bands, except for her bangs which are parted in the middle and fall down the sides of her face. She was wearing a grass-green robe with the kanji for gamble written in black on the back, inside a red circle. Underneath she had on a gray, kimono-style blouse with no sleeves, held closed by a broad, dark bluish-gray obi that matches her pants. Her blouse was closed quite low, revealing her sizable cleavage. She was wearing open-toed sandals with high heels and polish on both her fingernails and toenails. Tsunade looked at the 2. Well, are you go just stare at me or say something? She mused. Tsunade-sama? Tenten asked. Just call me Tsunade, she said waving off the sama part. Haim Sanin, you coming? Hinata asked. Tsunade looked at Hinata then put a finger on her chin. I don't know, I have a lot of other things I can do besides babysit a bunch of brats. She said playfully. Please, the 4 genins said at the same time. Tsunade smiled at them. Of course I'll come, if only to make sure someone doesn't try and make this entire trip into a giant money-making book. She said, shooting Jiraiya a look as he smiled innocently. How long will this trip last? Kushina asked. 2 or 3 years. Jiraiya told her. With Kiki, the last member of Anko's genin team, stood in her yard with her parents and uncle. The female had on clothes similar to those that Kiki herself wore except where hers was white, her mother's was purple. The 2 males was wearing clothes similar to Naruto's except they was wearing a black cloak instead of a jacket. The 3 looked at the young genin. Kiki, for the next 2 years or so, until your team returns you will train and train hard. One of the males said. The female rolled her eyes. Ryu, really, stop with all this, you're going to train and train hard, crap, or I will ban you from coming around my daughter for 3 years. She said. Sophia, she is the last member of our once amazing clan. We need to make sure she is the strongest. The man now named Ryu said. We know that Ryu, but Sophia has a point. What's the point if all she does is train and lose herself in her training? She will become a shell of herself. The last man said. You're just saying that because she is your daughter. All fathers are too soft on their daughters, Kuro. Ryu told him. Kiki sighed. Can you please stop this? Every time it's time for training you argue about how to train me and I usually end up having to train myself. She said, desperately trying to stop the upcoming argument between the three. Sophia sighed. She is right. We need to focus on her and not how we think the best way to train her is. She said. How do you suggest we train her then? Ryu asked in annoyance. Let's have Kiki decide. Kuro suggested. The three looked at her waiting. Well, Uncle Ryu, you are great at ninjutsu, so you can teach me that. Dad, you're great at genjutsu, so you can teach me that. Mom, you can teach me taijutsu, and I think I can find an Anbu to teach me to use the Tanto Ruto got me. She told them. Sounds good to me, Sophia said. Ryu groaned with annoyance of having to take instructions from a 12-year-old. Fine, your training starts at noon tomorrow, he said in a rough voice before walking off. Sophia looked at her older brother. Ever since we was named Whirlpools, Densetsu no Sanin, by the refuge his attitude has become very arrogant. She said, worried about her brother. After all, it was well known what happened once the Sanins in Konaha was named. I'll talk to him and make sure everything is okay, Kuro said as he watched his best friend walk away before following him. Mom, is Uncle go betray us like Teme Sanin did his friends? Kiki asked. She really liked her uncle and hoped he wouldn't. No, I won't let him become Rouge, Sophia declared. With Ryu and Kuro. Kuro caught up with his best friend. Ryu, is something wrong? He asked. No, why? Ryu answered. Well, you have been acting different ever since we became Sanins, Kuro told him. Different? Ryu asked. Well, I noticed that you act more arrogant than before. Sophia also noticed this. I want to make sure nothing is wrong with you, Ryu said. Ryu sighed. You two just don't realize the situation we are in, he told his friend. Then explain it to me, Kuro told him. Sophia and myself are the last adults in our clan, and although I love my niece and have all the faith in her as you do, there is just too much pressure on her. The Uchiha clan has all but wiped us out, and it's only a matter of time before they try and finish us off. If something happens to Kiki, I don't know what will happen. She is the last memory of our clan. It's up to me and Sophia to teach her everything about our clan while letting her look for a potential spouse, Ryu told him. Kuro took everything in. Just because you're the last of your clan doesn't mean you can't put all your faith into Kiki. She loves a challenge and will rise up to meet and exceed our expectations, he told Ryu. I know, but still this is a lot of pressure for a 12-year-old, Ryu said. Kuro suppressed the urge to smack the older man upside his head. No, it's not. She has mastered everything we threw at her so far. If that's not enough proof that she is ready for this, look at her team. Naruto is the forced to learn everything about the Uzumaki clan and has mastered what Kushina-sama has taught him. Hinata, while not the last member of her clan, has the added pressure of being a Jinchuriki while mastering the Byakugan. They all have unneeded pressure on them and they are meeting expectations. It would do Kiki a disservice as we took all those expectations away from her. I guess you're right, Ryu said. I know I'm right. Besides, Kiki have something that her team don't, Kuro said. Ryu looked at him. What's that? He asked. An uncle who can still have kids, Ryu said before walking away. Kiki loves you too much to let you fall into the darkness worrying about her and will do anything to make you proud of her, he added before he ran back to his house. Ryu stood there thinking about what was just said. Kiki ran across the village to the gate and wasn't surprised to see Naruto and Hinata wrestling around. What did surprised was that the two kunoichis from Konaha was ignoring them for the time being. She ran to her best friends. Ruto, didn't your mother teach you not to hit girls? She teased. Everyone there started laughing. Naruto glared at her while holding a laughing Hinata in the air. You want a piece of me to Kiki? He asked as a clone appeared and tackled the laughing girl. Both Tsunade and Jiraiya smiled at the carefree attitude of the young team. Watching them you would think that they are civilian 12-year-olds. Jiraiya said to his longtime teammate. Let's hope they keep this carefree attitude and pass it on to those two, Tsunade said, pointing to the stiff-looking genins from Konaha. It's just an act. They are at heart still a representative of Konaha and need to show it, but when they are alone they act just like any other 12-year-old child, Jiraiya said. Tsunade raised an eyebrow at him. And you just happen to know this? She asked. Jiraiya shrugged. I need to know the habits of the people I'm training. He said. Tsunade nodded, satisfied with that answer. Okay, enough playing you three, Ruto and Nata, it's time to leave. The three got off the ground. I'm going to beat you both into the ground next time we have team sparring. Naruto declared. Hinata laughed. Right, like you beat me last time we spared? She asked. That wasn't fair, Kiki helped you. Naruto protested. It was a free-for-all, and I won, so you two better train hard because next time I'm going to beat you even worse. Kiki told them. The three then stuck their fist together. Right me. Kiki said. You right us too. Hinata said. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Naruto said as he marched out of the village. Where are we going? He stopped and asked, looking back at his two godparents with a big smile. Jiraiya shook his head at the boy. This is going to be an unforgettable trip. Yes, one that will drive us both crazy, but I wouldn't miss this for the world. Tsunade said as the group started to leave Uzu.
That's all for now. If you want to see next part, then please like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.